everyone, and thank you for joining us. As you probably know by now, we are streaming tonight live from the Edgar Allan Poe Museum in Richmond, Virginia. We're incredibly excited to premiere a all-new original adventure from our friend Kelsey Dion of the incredibly talented Arcane Library. We're also incredibly thankful to our sponsors, of which there are several: Devon Rue, Tabletop Loot, Libris Arcana, and our friend Kurt the Grey Pilgrim. Throughout the stream, we will have numerous giveaways. I think we have 10 raffles tonight going on in the chat, so keep your eyes on the chat. We will not be engaging here so that we have 6 players. We can get through a single adventure on the night. Every single bit donated tonight will go directly to the museum, which is a non-profit, and it will go to support their mission, which we'll talk about a little bit here in the intro, and then once again when we come back from the break. So, if this is your first time watching Dungeons & Dragons, or in some cases playing Dungeons & Dragons, this is essentially a role-playing game which combines improv acting with just a little bit of board game mechanics. You do not need to know how to play, I think, to enjoy tonight. You can just watch along. Dice will resolve actions, and besides that, people will just be pretending to be their characters. All right, without further ado, we're going to get started. You guys ready? Everybody good? Okay. You can hear the cicadas in the background. It's August in Virginia, and we're all kind of dying, but we suffer for our art. I'm actually completely drenched in sweat. So.
It's actually a death rattle.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. The wind howls outside as the Baron Henrik Rennet pulls the curtain over the glass sullenly. It's gotten too dark to look across the moor now, and there was no sign of his sweet Eleanor's return. He blinks his eyes, rubs them, erasing the vision of the moonless night, and shivers slightly. 2 days, he says. His words come out creaky and dusty. He paces along his lavish parlor and collapses into a large red leather chair. Without Eleanor, I am lion-made mouse. He covers his face with both hands, and his shoulders slump. The normally affable and boisterous Baron has been hollowed out. 8 months ago, as our heroes all know, his only daughter, Elisa, succumbed to fever, and now his wife is missing as well. It was but 2 nights ago that she attended a masque at the ennobling of Count Lebrim Moldavia. So, I would now like to go around the table, introduce our players, and request that each of you share your name, your character's race, name, and class, and why you, of all people, are one of the 6 currently sitting in the Baron's parlor, and why he has entrusted you to set out into the Black Night to find his Eleanor. Let's get this thing going. Let's do it. Let's go. That's for you, Coach. Raven, we will start with you.
Hi, I am Raven at Castle MacRaven. I am playing Morella. I'm a human rogue, and he has invited me here because I frequently attend special events with Eleanor. I tend to know her character.
All right, wonderful, thank you. And how about you, Miss Lydia?
I am Lydia at Castle Mac Lydia, playing Madeline. I am a Shatterkai, shadow magic sorcerer. A Shatterkai is just a type of elf. The Baron has requested me because he knows that I will take most any job that will pay enough for me to pay the mages to get my potions of youth, because I'm actually quite old.
Driven by vanity, I love it. And Tyler, first-time Dungeons & Dragons player.
Yes.
Tell us about yourself and your character.
Well, like you said, my name is Tyler, and I'm here with the Poe Museum. I'm in charge of our communications here. So, my character is a human rogue named Dr. Tar, who is inspired by Poe's story called The Curious Case of Dr. Tar and Professor Feather. And so, the main reason that the Baron has enlisted my help is we go back quite a long way in our history. Let's just say that Dr. Tar has admitted a few of the Baron's family members at his previous asylum, which he has been most recently kicked out of and now fallen from grace. So he is working on behalf to help to reestablish his reputation.
All right, wonderful. And Mr. Sean, so beautiful right now.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sean at Castle Mac Sean. I will be playing Sante de Caribe. I'm a human blood hunter. That's how I got these scars. I am here at the request of the Baron because I am the last member of the Hunters of this land. Knight Templar. Was not known as the best or even the head of the Order, but I am the only one left. And as I speak to the Baron, I'll keep my hand from shaking.
Nice. And Debbie, another first-time Dungeons & Dragons player. Tell us about yourself and your character.
Yes, my name is Debbie. I'm here at the Poe Museum. I run programs and rentals for the museum. I am playing Lygia. She's a human. She's a warlock. Lygia is an old soul. She's not sure how she re-manifests. But something is functioning upon her. She has such vast knowledge from all of her previous lives that there's a possibility they might come across something within the halls of Moldavia she might be able to decipher, and she is acquainted with the Lady Eleanor.
Awesome. And our good friend, Mr. Grant, wearing a terrifying bird mask. I'm actually creeped out. I might have nightmares about that.
Hi, everybody. My name is Grant Ellis. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and I'm here to play with Castle Mac. Once again, I will be playing Words of Truth. He's been summoned by the Baron to keep an eye on them and make sure, they're about as sharp as a sack of wet mice, if I do say so myself. But, he being a kinku, which is a type of raven folk, they learn through mimicry, and you can tell by the voice he probably learned from watching lots of Looney Tunes, Foghorn Leghorn, stuff like that. But in all seriousness, I don't know, I heard raven, and I was like, shoot, Words of Truth is now Foghorn Leghorn. He's a fighter, and he's been summoned by the Baron to keep an eye on the party, 2 eyes.
All right.
Because you're not to be trusted. But I trust you.
Do not appreciate it.
Wonderful. And with that, the Baron lifts his head from his hands and says, What other questions do you have for me? What else can I arm you with to ensure that you bring back my dear Eleanor? I know that she's okay. I feel it in my soul. I believe she's fine. What else would you need from me? The horses are being prepared. I hate to ask you to ride through that forest in the dead of night, but I don't want to wait till the morrow.
Baron, what costume was she wearing?
She was wearing a beautiful brooch, spider brooch, in fact, with a pearl on its abdomen. A blue dress, if I recall. Yes, quite shiny, beautiful threads. You couldn't miss it. Unmistakable.
It's one of her favorites.
It is, yes.
That's who Baron, have you ever been to this place before? Could you tell us anything of destruction?
It has been some time since I have been there, but the place is essentially constructed for entertaining. It is, as you well know, one of many properties possessed by the Count. Or at least, I should say, the late Count, for his son has now taken over for him. This Masque is, in fact, to celebrate his ennobling. He was an old friend, but I admit it had been some time since I had been there. A large central hall where they hold their lavish parties. Some guest quarters. Not much else to it, really.
Baron, are you acquainted with the Count's son?
I know him. I wouldn't say I'm acquainted with him. He is young, but a whelp. 21 or maybe 22 this year. Seemed like a fine boy. Didn't know him well. It has been some time. Regrettably, maybe a decade since I paid the Count a visit.
Did your wife, did she have any enemies?
Well, my dear, as you know, political situation here is sometimes, shall we say, sticky. She certainly had her enemies, but none I would suspect would wish her dead or harmed. But, you know, that forest, it's not as patrolled as well as it used to be. Could be kidnappers, highwaymen, could be orcs for all we know.
Could be something far, far worse.
Oh, dread to think so.
As do I.
She a church-going woman? Do you have any friends around here? Any society that she consorts with on a regularness?
That's the lady of the house, of course. She attends the church of Chantia. She pays her tributes to Tyr and Lathander as any good noble should. She tends to be, shall I say, the social face of the family. Not that I don't enjoy societies, but, they can be quite tiring. But she seems to have an appetite for it.
Any society take any particular interest in her or request a donation of any type?
Well, that is a good question. When you come into money as we have, every society comes knocking on the door for donations. But none that I could think of more than any others, and certainly none that would have made me second-guess their motives.
No doubt you sent word to the young Count. Has he not replied?
I regret to say I have not sent a messenger. In fact, you would be arriving before they would. It wasn't unusual that she wasn't here this morning, but when you received word, that was when I only began to suspect. I still hold out hope that the party simply went on. As I said, the estate is, well, its primary function is these types of events. Lavish parties, dreadful affairs if you ask me, but, well, she's not missing so long that less concerned men might not. And he kind of stares off and ponders and shakes his head. Anyhow, it hasn't been that long that she's been missing, and certainly sometimes these events go on, so you were the first. You will be my first word arriving at Moldavia Manor.
It does seem odd that she would skip our usual tea in the afternoon.
I thought so as well.
No one turns me down like that.
And she was, of course, very fond of you. I feel she would have... Well, you know that she keeps her appointments. It's one of her strengths.
Baron, back to money.
Yes, of course.
I know this job is paying, and this is terrible to say, but if one of us were not to arrive, would you distribute their funds to the rest of us? Would it be split evenly?
Oh, adventurers, you're all the same. Yes, I suppose that's the case, although I would prefer all of you return with my Eleanor.
Of course.
Alive and well.
Are you trying to take an extra share if one of us is departed?
Please, not here. Not within these walls. Have your squabbles on the road if you need to.
I just like to have my affairs in order.
As does the family of the recently departed. There'll be funerals. But I digress. I apologize, Baron. Speaking a little out of turn.
No, you're right.
Recognize the Dr. Tar over there. Could she have taken something? Perhaps been poisoned? Perhaps just asleep?
I'm quite concerned, actually. If we're thinking about her pattern of behavior, it seems to be something that she does quite regularly.
Yes.
Seems to be the case. So I'm wondering, for us, is this perhaps just another common occurrence on her part?
Well, I know you may not know her well, but of her I can say this. This is absolutely aberrant behavior. Never without word. She makes her appointments. I find it incredibly strange that she would have agreed to stay longer for a social engagement. In fact, she prides herself on being able to show up, make a scene, make her face be known, and remind them that I am yet the Baron, and return.
I would also say that she does have quite a name, if you don't mind me saying, amongst these circles.
You are true. You are accurate.
And we might do well to inquire about her whereabouts to people who participate in such fancies as well once we arrive. I'm also quite curious, what are we talking about in terms of compensation?
Yes, of course. Well, consider that I'm asking you to ride through these woods in the dead of night. Find my dear Eleanor. 200 gold pieces each seems more than fair. Wouldn't you say so? Wouldn't you say so, words of truth?
100%. It's a hell of a payment. Hell of a payment.
Lygia, is that amenable?
I've been known to work for that amount.
He thinks about it. All right.
It won't get much sun, do you?
And anything we might find in the estate that isn't secured down.
Well, I'm not hiring common thieves, if that's what you mean. He is, after all...
Certainly not.
He is newly ennobled and deserving of all the respect a nobleman deserves. So I do ask that you treat the young Count well. But he is a whelp. Either way, I'm hoping it's simply an old man's paranoia and you show up and everything is fine and they're having a grand time and he has recently risen to the counthood. The drink was flowing and that people are, well, suffering no more ill effects than a headache. That's my hope.
It is also my hope. I hope more nefarious things are not at this place of residence.
Well, are you all prepared to set out then? The 6 horses have been made ready for your departure. They're fine horses. They don't spook easy, although these woods at night do leave something to be desired. You've heard the folk tales, I'm sure. Witches and elder things in those forests. I'll pay them no mind, and I'm paying you to pay them no mind. So we have an agreement then?
You have the sword of Zante de Carrillo and the Order of the Hunters.
Thank you, Zante. I appreciate that.
I'll require a bit of stowage, actually.
A bit of what?
Stowage. To store.
You can take one of the carts if you'd like.
Wonderful.
All right. I'll see to it that the stable boy hitches it up. The rest of you?
My good Baron, the folk stories speak of those you've gathered here tonight. We know what's in the woods. We'll take care of it for you. We'll resolve the situation.
Well, I appreciate that words. It gives me confidence. Thank you. Yes.
A husband as committed as you to his wife? It's inspirational.
Well,
I will absolutely be helping you.
she is my light. Yes. Very well then. Thank you all. Much appreciated. You all will get what's coming to you. I promise you that.
That's ominous.
What do you mean?
Do you have the time?
No. Wasn't prepared for that. Yes, it's, I believe it's, 9:30.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, with that, you all are ushered out into the stables. 6 fine horses have been assembled for you. A cart is being hitched to one of them. It's kind of a small, just a single. It won't slow the horse down appreciably. What do you all do?
I will mount, stroke the mane. I will need you to ride with swiftness. I do not want to hasten in the forest any longer.
The horse whinnies. It's clearly trained and enjoys having people talk to it. It's a tame beast. It stamps its feet a little bit, seems ready to go. It knows what's ahead of it. And if you all would like, as you set out, you can have a few moments to talk amongst yourselves if you'd like, and let me know when we're ready to move on.
Dr. Tar I've seen before. Morella I've heard quite a bit about. But what of the rest of you? I know so little.
Just a simple country gentleman.
I have been known to be an authoress, a poetess. I am master of many, many languages, both modern and ancient. Deeply, deeply ancient. When I become ill, I will revive.
I think I take your meaning.
A bit of an academic, bookish career woman. I love that.
If this works out, the Order of Hunters is quite decimated. Perhaps you could have a second couple.
And you, Madeline? I've never seen you around here before.
Oh, well, I'm just a young elf.
Never quite trusted elves.
Are there young elves?
Are there young elves?
Are there young elves?
It's actually quite common. Elves age very slowly.
Certainly have proof in front of you, don't you?
Well, clearly she's lovely.
As ripe as a fine peach.
I wonder how many eons you have witnessed.
Eons? Oh, just the one. My family, though. They have been around since the beginning, probably.
And the name of that family? Yeah, how's it feel to be put on the spot?
You might not have heard of us. We are actually from the Fae.
As most elves are.
Yes.
I've heard of the island.
The coloring of your hair does not quite read fate to me. Perhaps my eyes deceive me.
And you, Zante? Why are you asking around about us? Hiding something yourself?
That's what I have to hide.
Out in that outfit.
What happened to your other companions?
They were unfortunately torn to shreds by ghouls. The leader of the order and the other hunters. I did all I could, but unfortunately I was the only one to escape alive. Barely I got that. It was horrible. It was absolutely horrendous to watch the bodies torn in from him. Anyway, Dr. Tar, last I heard, you headed up your own asylum. Why would you be away from it now?
Interesting question. It's quite a long story, so spare and boring you all. I'd somewhat water it down to a little misunderstanding amongst a clientele. As you know, I made quite a name for myself. Spent most of my formative years establishing quite, I recall, an impressive theory on the establishment of mental illness and how to treat it. Unfortunately, it's not the most popular theory as we now speak, and that is honestly all I'd wish to say on the matter.
What happened to your companion, Professor Feather?
Yes.
That's another quite interesting question. Professor Feather and I have known each other for quite a few decades, really, and have almost most turns disagreed on almost everything, and our theory that made us so popular and so quite wealthy was really the only thing we ever agreed upon. We've now since parted ways, and it's an interesting relationship. And I'm interested in why you are so interested in my relationship with my ex-colleague.
I'm acquainted with Professor Feather.
Ah, yes. Isn't everyone?
And Morella, are you here because the coffers have run dry from whoever you've stolen from?
Excuse me?
Malign a lady like that.
My husband is quite well off, otherwise I would not be acquainted with Eleanor herself. I'm here simply because I admire the love that he has for his wife. It must be quite nice to feel so loved, respected, understood, appreciated at home even. Something more than someone to take care of the house and estate. I'm sorry. What was the question again?
Oh, nothing. Just reminiscing about my former master's golden watch that went missing the last time we saw you.
Golden watch? I've never... Was there a golden watch?
Suppose we can settle after the Countess.
And as you all continue riding through the forest, the trees just start closing in along the path. Conversation eventually dies to the darkness and you pull your cloaks up just a little closer. Is that geese?
That's geese.
Screaming outside, everybody. We've got trains, we've got car alarms, we've got cicadas, geese. Let's see what's next. I hope you have your bingo cards.
Poe Museum bingo is next up.
About 4 hours pass, maybe 5. You get it's a little hard to see the sky. You can't tell how far the moon has moved. But you do come upon a weathered sign pointing you in the direction of Moldavia Manor. You follow it up a winding dirt path. You can see lots of wagon ruts recently. It looks like carriages have come up here quite a bit. Again, this is a place that seems to be made for entertaining. And when you come into the clearing where undoubtedly the manor is, you see a gloomy building standing, moss growing up its sides, high, dark windows. You do see some torchlight flickering inside. Just to the left, as you approach the main path, you can see a stable, and in that stable you see a dozen lavish carriages. And in the shadows, you can faintly make out emaciated, spooked horses, and at least a half a dozen corpses of horses that have fallen, still in their tackle. You also see some guest housing, torches burning in some of them, and a door slightly cracked open in one of them. It's 6 apartments, if you will, kind of like little, maybe like a motel almost, where guests or servants could stay. And as you all stand here, taking in the manor, a chill creeps up your spine. And I need everybody to make me a Constitution saving throw. Lydia, if you would help Tyler with that, and if you guys would help Debbie.
And you can add +3 to it.
How'd you do? Go ahead.
Am I allowed to spend?
Yeah, go ahead, spend them.
I'm going to go ahead and use this thank you to
Spend them.
That was a nat one.
Spend them
You
up.
can go ahead and. You also rolled a nat one, so go ahead and try.
Okay, that's better.
And as you spend them, set them aside. Now they're done.
There. You're welcome, Honor.
13. It's better than
If
Okay.
you're spent.
Who got a 13 or higher?
That would be me.
Every single one of you passed your Constitution save. So congratulations. I'm so happy for you. All right, you all stand in this entrance area. You can see a gravel path. It's circular. There's a fountain in the middle. You feel a chill creep up your spine as you look at the horses. Some of them are looking at you sort of from within the stable. They appear to be spooked. They're stamping and whinnying. What do you all do? You see the main entrance to the manor is closed, but you do see some torchlight flickering from within. What do you all do?
I would like to cast Mage Armor on myself.
Okay. You all see Madeline weave some magic, put her hand on her torso, and her body glows blue momentarily
I'm
before
going
it fades.
to lurk into the shadows and
Okay.
hide.
Okay, you can certainly do that. There's trees kind of growing over, although it is a fairly manicured lawn, so there's not as much, but you can certainly kind of get up against the wall. What would you like to move towards as you hide? You've got the guest housing, the stables, the main manor.
I think I want to stay close to where the main group is,
Okay.
but kind of hide in the shadows along.
We'll say you all are closest right now to the stables, and then there's guest housing along the path, and then the main manor is the farthest from you.
But before I...
So go ahead and roll stealth for me.
12 plus 8.
Okay. You all see Morella step into the shadows, and as you blink and look again, can't see her. She disappears from your sight. What do the rest of you do?
Can I do a perception check to see if there's any
What are you looking for?
any other person or humanoid that is alive?
Good question. Yes, go ahead and roll perception, and while you roll that...
While
we'll
she's
take you-
casting Mage Armor, Lygia has her action that she's sort of following up with.
I would like to also cast armor.
Armor of Agathis.
Yep.
And you see her do it, you do the same, and the spell almost looks like the yin to her yang. Yours, rather than a light, almost pleasant blue, yours is a shadowy black, tendrils of wisps of smoke sort of surround you and then disappear.
I'm drawing my rapier and buckler that I pulled off the recently deceased corpse of my former lord, and I am going to circumnavigate this manor and look for alternative entrances or exits.
Okay, great. What did you roll on perception?
I rolled a 6.
Yeah, you're standing there, kind of staring intently. Some of the horses start whinnying as if they can tell there's a presence. You start, which way would you like to go? Would you like to go via, so imagine if you will, you're here, stables, guest housing, manor. There's a dark-looking pond over here. You see a couple of benches set out around the pond, sort of faintly
water still?
rippling. It's not still. It's actually rippling just a little bit in the slight breeze that's coming through. It is dark, so it's kind of reflecting moonlight. So
Roughly
that
how many
silvery
feet from me?
sheen. 60 feet off to the
All right, I'm going to switch from rapier to crossbow, and I'm going to shoot a bolt into the pond to disturb the water, see if anything comes out.
Okay. You all startle just a little bit as you hear this, and you see ripples emanate out from the water. Everyone stares expectantly for a moment.
Night fishing.
Nobody sees anything, but can I have everyone roll me one more Constitution saving throw, please?
Ooh.
Is there an extra one of those tabletop notepads?
Yeah,
I
what?
thought I had one for myself. Oh, maybe I do. Oh, never mind. It's right here. Got it.
But good sir, I got a nat 1. I'm not using
Did
any
you?
of these precious
Did you take one of
things.
those
I want to
to
see what it is.
My top
Roll your
was a
For you to take
Okay.
one.
So, who got less than a 13? Okay. How about you guys? Who got less than a 13?
None of us.
You all passed?
Okay.
And this whole table failed. Okay, great. Let me describe.
Have these been spread out between the tables?
Yes.
Okay.
We have quite a
There are quite a few. Thank you all for your generosity. We seriously appreciate it.
saving it for
The three of you, after Words of Truth shoots this crossbow bolt into the water. You see these ripples. He kind of turns back to you all with what would be the kinku bird face equivalent of a wry smile. And suddenly, as all three of you are kind of looking at him and looking at each other, you're not sure what it is at first. Almost sounds like it could be a watch hidden in cotton, perhaps in your pocket. But as you listen closer, it's clear. You hear the beating of a heart coming from both of your ears. And you're, is it me? You feel your pulse. It is not in time with your pulse. You just hear thump, 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 thump.
I will be checking my pulse all over. And no.
It's not.
I'm questioning my feelings for Zante. He's getting me all hot and bothered.
Hand starting to shake on my rapier. I'll look around furiously to everybody else to see if anybody else is looking.
Why don't you roll an insight check for me?
I'm old twitchy over here.
That is a 10.
Okay, what you can see is that they, at the very least, do not seem to be affected, but Lygia does seem to also be sort of like, that's weird. It's been a while probably since you've heard a pulse.
Yes, I was shocked.
Right.
Very surprised.
But it's unmistakable. Thump, 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 thump. Not even sure where it's coming from. Sounds like cotton pressed to your ear with a clock behind it.
Nigeria, are you hearing the beating of a heart that is not your own?
I am. I'm feeling weak.
Could be an illusion.
Is there magic here that could be affecting us?
Absolutely, positively. 100% guaranteed. We are, in fact, magic users, and it is a safe assumption that there are other magical forces at work in this world. Just take deep breaths, and I'm sure in time, that beating will snuff out. It's terrifying, though.
I would think it would be my own madness. But I doubt that any of us will have enfant deux, as they say. The madness of two.
Dr. Tar. Dr. Tar. You're a doctor? Go inspect him.
Examine me.
Quite a good point. I was actually just fascinated.
What is wrong with them?
I'm quite curious. This is
I think we've been cast under a spell.
somewhat of a common experience. I've seen it quite a few times in several cases. It seems as though all three of you have agreed that you've been bewitched somehow. Which I don't quite understand, but we don't see anything ourselves.
Did anything come out of that pond
Here.
into which you shot the bolt?
I was too distracted by the infernal beating to really notice, but I don't think anything did.
The beating did not start until after that bolt was fired.
What's the cure, Doctor? I'm willing to pay. Good money, good money.
The cure is good money. I would say the only solution here is walk until it gets louder. The important thing is that you don't try to deny what you're experiencing. And so, one must remember, rather than trying to fight against it, you must try and find it.
Embrace it.
And embrace it. Very good.
I love the cut of your
Part
tobacco.
of your system.
Thank you.
I am not comforted by that whatsoever. I say we fan out.
Split up.
they stay together?
I think that for your safety, it's probably best that we stay together.
Well, we have the stables, the guest houses of the manor. I'm interested in what happened to the horses. There are lights, otherwise.
Any of us have any sort of husbandry or work with the horses? Anyone a stable master of any sort in a past life?
It's funny you should ask, actually. I have quite an interesting background. I rode horses for several years. I knew almost nothing about the actual riding of horses, but found it much more interesting to inspect them, shall we say. I would love to go and inspect these horses, perhaps in a much more public manner.
Yes.
Dr. Tar, we just met, but I am thoroughly impressed.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
All right, you all proceed to the stables. I assume you're staying near, but sticking to the shadows, and you're doing it without issue. You're just kind of watching. Are you watching them, or are you kind of watching?
Watching
the
around
manor? Okay.
Around the manor, just to see if anything
Great. Do
weird
me a favor.
happens.
Roll me a perception check.
Oh, I will. I would be delighted. How's a 12 do?
12's pretty good. We'll come back to it. You all arrive to the stable, and as I described, you can see there are roughly 18 horses here. Most of them are all still in their tackle. Maybe it looks like they were about to leave, perhaps? It looks like they weren't being cared for. Or again, perhaps they were being hitched up in preparation of leaving. You see 6 are dead on the ground.
Any blood?
No blood. Good question. If you would like, go ahead and make me an animal handling check. That's a skill that Lydia can help you find there. That'll be a d20. I'm going to give you advantage on the roll, which means you get to roll 2 d20 because you thoroughly convinced me that Dr. Tar's background involves horses. That means you will roll 2 and take the highest of the 2. And add your animal handling.
Oh, well, he critted that.
Oh.
Well, with a nat 20. Okay, nice.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, congratulations. With your nat 20, you walk up, look down, and you've seen this before. In fact, you recall the time you were a much younger man then. You walked into a stable after a severe thunderstorm, and you saw 2 of your favorite horses dead in the same way. It stuck with you. And your father, or someone else who was teaching you this, showed you the signs that they had died of fright. There's a little bit of foam around their mouths, no blood, just lying there dead. It looks like they're sleeping, but sleeping fitfully. They do not look at peace. These animals died of fright, and the other remaining horses also, as you approach, kind of whinny and kind of stamp their feet a little bit. They similarly look both hungry and frightened.
Those horses look afraid. Do you think that they hear whatever they're hearing?
It's an interesting observation. I say we let the live ones loose and see what they run from, rather than what they run toward. Perhaps that's interesting.
Did you come up with a theory on how they died?
Well, I'd like to inspect the live horses, I guess, before we let go of them. Quite a good point.
Okay.
With your roll of a 20, you walk up and calm one down a little bit, kind of petting it. It's clearly spooked. I mean, it looks like a horse has just heard a loud sound, or in a thunderstorm like our poor dog who loses her mind. They just look absolutely terrified. In fact, even with your 20, you probably can't get it calmed down. It seems like it's rip-roaring to run.
Well, I would like to let them go for humane reasons, personally. We already know that they're afraid.
Shouldn't you feed the poor beasts?
It's the nature of the world, Lygia.
Are you going to release them then?
I would like to. Personally, I think that we can find out.
Spooked horses running through the manor
Quite a
and
good
through the courtyard.
I see, yes. Well, should we just leave them here, tacked up, and no help, and nothing
Perhaps
to
we
give
should
them
see
salvation?
what else we find. Surely we'll pass back through this way when we depart.
If we back
They're
back
alive.
through this.
We will.
As you all are having that discussion and you're keeping an eye on things, you watch one of the one of the housing units, right? One of the little like apartments. The one with the door cracked, you see kind of a pale face and hands push up to the window, kind of look at you all and then shrink away. It's in the lower pane of the window.
Where was that again?
In the guest housing. Or it's both guest housing and likely surgery quarters.
I will quickly make my way back to the group.
Okay, all right. You all are just finishing up that conversation, and you see Morella kind of spooks all of you a little bit as she kind of comes out of the shadows. In fact, as she spooks you just a little bit, can I get the three of you to roll me a Constitution saving throw? And can I have the three of you roll me a Wisdom saving throw?
Go ahead and roll this.
Such a fun. That was terrible.
Okay.
Might
One of these magic rerolls from a generous gift from somebody.
All right, of you three, who got a 13 or higher? So you two failed, okay? And of you three, who of you got a 11 or higher? Okay? Below an 11? Okay, we'll come right back to you. The two of you who failed, suddenly, as you, from almost the shock, stemming from the fear when you see that face and then, like, just, you were like, oh, God. And you, seeing her just emerge from the shadows, kind of startles you a little bit. You start to hear, as if a watch in cotton, you start to hear the heartbeat.
We've all gone mad.
See, it's getting worse.
Dum, dum. For you, who failed this save, the heartbeat gets louder. And in fact, it's pulsing in your head. Worse still, you start to feel hot. You start to feel like you're coming down with fever. In fact, you wipe your brow and are alarmed to feel sweat, which is strange.
I have not felt that in many long years.
But you just arrived. And as you do, you hear the thump, 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 thump.
I saw something in the door in the guest house, or maybe the window. I don't recall anymore. What is that sound? What? I saw something.
I still don't hear a sound that you're talking about, but I know I'm alive.
It's terrible.
I might have run so quickly. My heart is in my ears. What is that sound?
It's a heartbeat. It might be an illusion. I don't know myself.
Dr. Tar, make me a medicine check quickly, if you would, sir. That is another skill on there.
I just thought it was my tinnitus.
Okay. So 17.
17. You look around the group, you can clearly see some wide eyes, people kind of, rubbing their ears, like trying to make it go away. But your eyes fall on Lygia, and you can see that she is sort of like almost looking slightly delirious. Like she's just kind of head in her hands. She's wiping sweat from her face. She just looks even more clammy than usual.
So I'm going to go ahead and sit her down to inspect her and ask exactly what she's feeling and or hearing.
It's terrible. It's this constant throbbing, pulsing. It's getting louder. It's not my heart. I don't know. It's out of sync with all of my rhythms, and I'm so ill right now.
So I'm quite starting to feel and hear it myself, which is concerning, as I'm supposed to be the stable one.
As much as I don't want to suggest this, we could head towards the guest house, where I absolutely saw something strange. These dead horses are very startling. However, I saw something there and it backed away. It was a pale face.
Oh, pale face, you say?
Yes.
Like a ghoul?
It could have hexed us.
Please, not a ghoul.
Let's not go quickly to hexing now. It's going to be very logical.
Either way, we should move together. I will pull out my rapier, and on its pommel I've got a blade that I will cut my thumb. and wipe it across my rapier. And with that, mist come out with an electricity.
You all hear a faint static sound as his blade is wreathed in a faint blue electricity. Who goes in first?
Is the guest house dark inside?
Yes, it is.
Are there torches at all?
There are torches in two of them with the door closed. Where she saw the face is the one with the door slightly ajar, and it is dark in there.
I'll take point. And draw my rapier. Not as
Fine
artistically.
suggestion.
All right.
I'll deal with you later.
I'll light a torch while we're
Okay.
doing that. Hold on.
All right. You've got the torch behind, casting a dull glow on the outside brickwork of the guest and servant quarters.
I'm gonna kinku my way in there.
All right. You reach out with kind of a taloned foot, push the door open. It's not locked. Again, it was slightly ajar. You come in and you see what looks not unlike a modern-day hotel room. You can see there's a bed and an adjoining water closet, and there's an armoire for clothes. It's not altogether shabby, but it's clearly not either for guests or for nobility. This looks like a servant chamber, but a well-kept servant chamber. As you push the door open, you don't see anything. The torchlight just glinting off some of the glass pieces, a small mirror.
As loud as possible, I mimic the sound of the whinnying horses. The frightened horses just brrr, is my kinku mimicry.
It's horrifying.
Yes. And also I start mimicking the beating of the heart out loud in time.
I think when he starts doing that, like, I would hold my ears.
Yes, and it's a perfect mimicry, of course, because that is a Kinku's special ability. You cover your ears, and as you do, you hear a scream from the other side of the bed. And a small, curly-haired girl looks up. She's pale, and she looks terrified, and she's clutching her arms to herself. She's holding a small doll. She's in a nightgown, and her eyes are wide with terror, and she pushes herself up against the far wall, looking up at you.
Darling, I apologize for startling you, but we suspected there was, in fact, a specter or other paranormal apparition here in this premise. We've been sent to investigate. What is your name?
I think you need to make a persuasion check on that, my dude.
All right. That I can do. I am...
You just roll a d20, we'll approximate it.
No.
Okay.
I'm going to re-roll. No!
Nice. Terrible. With
Blah, blah, blah,
with that, she covers her eyes and screams, "Ah!" and starts crying and crumples into a corner, sobbing quite loudly.
Yeah, I'm mimicking her crying.
Okay.
We must embrace the noises. I'm backing out slowly.
I'm horrified.
I'm still holding Lygia up in the back of the group, and I guess, draw my dagger in fear that someone has harmed this child.
Okay.
And might be lurking.
Drawn out my
Yeah.
Just like-
Okay, y'all have thoroughly frightened the child.
But to protect in case, you know.
But you're kind of hanging back with the
Yeah.
dagger. Words of Truth kind of backs out like, yep, clearly kids, not my specialty.
Comfort the child.
Yeah, just so someone
anyway,
speak blatantly to
I would go,
killing me,
in
hanging me up by a tree.
and sit down with the girl and
Okay.
like try to be comforting, but also definitely be more like, you're so young, you're so beautiful.
Oh, creepy.
Yeah.
Y'all are more creepy than the story. Okay. Why don't you go ahead and go up and make a roll that you think would be appropriate? Persuasion, perhaps, to see how good you are at trying to calm this small child.
13.
Okay. She clearly does not feel any warmth from you, but she does calm down just a little bit. She kind of looks up at you and she's like, "Who are you?"
We were sent here to look for a lady attending the party.
She says, "There were a lot of important grown-ups at the party.
What happened to them?
I don't know. I haven't gone near it. They all started screaming last night. My mom was in there.
Where did they go?
I don't know. They were in there. They were screaming. Do you think it was the Willow Man?
The what?
The Willow Man.
What's that?
Lives down Cherry Lane. Sorry.
Do you think it's because I didn't clean up my toys? My mom told me to."
No, not that.
Not at all.
I don't know. I haven't gone there. They were screaming. I just was waiting here.
Can I give her something to, like, calm her down?
How do you know she's being truthful?
Well,
You could administer some laudanum, I guess, if you'd really like to give a child laudanum. I
well,
won't stop you.
This time.
it is.
She got the hot.
Give her, yeah.
You said they started screaming. Did the screaming stop, child? That night, or did it go on?
No, not long. Only a few minutes, I think.
Is she injured? Sorry.
No, she does not seem injured, but she does seem very sick and malnourished. And in fact, as you ask that question, she says, "Since then I've heard nothing but the beating of my heart.
Oh, dear.
Someone's heart."
Is it your heart you hear, child?
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't think so, though.
But why are you worried about the Willow Man? What is the Willow Man, child?
He lives in the woods, I think. He gets kids who didn't listen to their moms and dads, snatches them up. Any of you who have lived near this area could reasonably know that that is a folk tale. You know, it's the boogeyman of this area. Do you think that's what it was?
Not at all, not one bit.
We suspect ghouls.
You look like a good girl. I don't think it was the Willow Man.
Okay.
You look like a nice, pretty girl. Would you like to come with us, or would you like us to leave you here? We can shut the door.
We absolutely
Lock it?
must leave her here.
I don't think we could possibly leave a child alone.
So you would take her into a place where a number of people disappeared screaming. I'm sorry. That sounds insane to me.
Is there a torch in her room?
There is a torch, just not lit.
Okay. And you have the torch?
Oh.
Please, can you light her torch for her?
Yes, I can.
Words of Truth is inspecting. He doesn't really care about the girl. He's inspecting the building. Are there any arcane runes, religious symbols?
There are.
Anything about it?
If you go into some of the other rooms, you find that they are split between servants' quarters and guest chambers. In most of the servants' quarters, you do find religious symbols, but nothing you wouldn't expect. You know, symbols of Shantia, symbols of Tyr.
When he lights her torch, I'll use control flames to make it be as bright as it possibly can.
Okay, all right.
And I'll explain. What is your name, girl?
She says, "My name's Jenny Alsby."
Jenny. It's a lovely name. Jenny, we will leave you in your room and we will lock the door. And you stay here.
Okay, can you look for my mom?
Yes, and
Her name's Bessie. She was one of the servants. She has worked for the Count forever, and the new Count, his son.
if we find her, we will send her to your room and she will knock and you can let her in. If we can't find her right away, you stay and you wait for us.
Okay.
Okay?
Jenny,
Do you have a song that you like to sing?
does the new young count, does he seem like a kind man?
She
What can you
kinda-
tell us of?
She kind of looks down and looks up at you and says, "He's mean to my mom. His dad was a nice man. He had a scary old eye, but he was a nice man. But the new Count, he's always cross."
I wonder about this man's character. Oh, but I can't.
Even as you speak, just thump, 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 thump.
I feel as I'm being assailed.
I'm going to administer a small portion of laudanum to the child to calm her down as we leave her.
Yep,
But as
perfect. You
I-
do, and calm her down.
And as I try to, as I do give her the vial of laudanum, my hands are shaking as I can't focus with this.
Yes.
Very dangerous.
Yes.
While they're in there doing that, I'm going to take a step outside, and when I think I'm out of sight and them being able to hear me, I think he will shudder and have a small panic attack. Look back and then... Not again. Not again.
As fear grips you, please make me a wisdom saving throw. Almost off the table there. Still good?
That is a 16.
Okay, you're good. You still hear the beating of this heart, and it's driving you mad that it's not in rhythm with your own, even as you feel your pulse. But you sit outside just start to slowly catch your breath, but as everyone else kind of gathers up and starts to
As soon as I hear them rustling, I'll puff chest up, chin up.
put it all back. All right.
Say it with your chest. I'm making my way to the manor house. Straight way. I'm gonna kick that door open.
All right. And so the rest of you follow along. The girl, you kind of tuck her in bed, and she's kind of starting to get woozy, looks tired. As you touch her, you can tell that she is burning up. Feels like she has a very high fever. Her skin is just pallid, her eyes are sunken. You can say something.
No.
Okay. Then everybody heads to the manor now,
Actually, I'm gonna throw down some ball bearings in front of the door.
Okay. Awesome. You wait till everyone's gone, and I think you do it, with subtlety. Like everyone leaves, you're just gonna lay them out. Awesome. You bring up the rear as you all approach the front door. And words of truth, do you kick the door in or do you try that?
Not only do I kick the door open, I use my mimicry to retell the horrifying tale the little girl said in her voice as I opened the door and talked about how her family's missing and all the people were screaming. I'm trying to draw attention. If there is a vile and villainous spirit here in this abode,
Okay.
I'm drawing it out.
All right, yeah. With gusto, Words of Truth walks up and just kicks the door in, recites something, and you hear, "Oh, that was wonderful!" And you look down in this entranceway, in front of double doors, you see a man. And this man is maybe in his 60s, red-faced, lying with his head propped up by the wall, the rest of his body sprawled out, clutching a bottle of wine, and holding bloody rags over his stomach. And as you come in, he's clapping and sees you, and you look down at him, and you can clearly see that he's got like he's closing one eye to give him depth perception because he's so drunk.
I get that. I'm breaking his nose. Here's why. He left a little girl to die and burn up in there, and we're going to sober this guy at the heart.
Okay, you walk right up to him and make me an unarmed strike. You roll with advantage.
All right. Nat 20.
Oh, nice.
So that would be 25
Okay.
to hit.
Would you like to kill him or not kill him?
No.
Or just harm him badly?
Just as I said, I want to break. I'm essentially breaking his face, and then I'm going to start, giving him a verbal thrashing. For that little girl.
You just see this kinku walk in, punch this dude in the face. He's like, and you grab him, slide him up the wall, and he's holding the bottle of wine at his side. He's like, what did you do that for? What was that for?
Listen here, you listen to me good. You straighten yourself up, and you do not leave a child to die there in a guest house alone. You listen up and you tell me where all the people went, and you tell me what shenanigans are going on, and you stop laughing. If you laugh one more time, I will kill you.
He's like,
He will indeed kill
blood
you.
is kind of pouring down his nose, and he's like, didn't know there was a child, honest. Didn't know there was a child anywhere. Certainly not in here. It was just all the lords and ladies, and then the worms. And he holds down his bloody rag, and you can see a large circular wound about the size of a dinner plate.
He's got goosebumps. No.
It has been taken out of his side, and you can just see it's starting to scab, but this man is clearly dead without some
You're a
serious-
damn fool. And then I'm just going to drop him and say, Doctor, please attend to him. I'm sorry.
I'll step in with.
He kind of hits the ground, looks up at him, takes a big sip of this wine. He's like, at least good wine. Stops, keeps himself from laughing, keeping eyes with the kinku, doesn't want to get punched again. You come over and look down at him. You can clearly see that he's hammered and severely wounded.
I'll just say something along the lines of, you'll neck it. And then I'll grab, I guess, bandana or something that I have, piece of cloth out of a knapsack to try to
You've got some
clean out this.
cloth. Yeah. You kind of, you pull it aside, and you can see. You're
Yeah.
like, oof, he's not coming back from that.
Then I'll probably
It
just.
writhes.
Yes.
Mortal pains.
I'll probably just help him bind it, realize that it's not going to be cured
Make
and
me a quick medicine check on that wound, if you would.
While he's doing that,
Yes.
is he wearing anything worth anything?
As a matter of fact, you can see that around his neck, like it's been pushed down, is a mask not unlike Grant's. Looks like it's diamond studded around the outside. Looks like a bird, and there's feathers on the side. Clearly he would have worn it at the mask. He's in fine clothes besides that, so he's got some jewelry on, nice bracelets and rings.
I'm
He's one
gonna
of the guests.
walk over to Dr. Tar, assisting him. Here, let me assist you, sir, and I'm gonna try and sneak off some of his jewels.
Make a sleight of hand check with advantage, because he is completely hammered. Okay.
so I got 13, but can I?
No, 13's fine.
Okay.
As you pull back from the wound, you're like, yeah, laceration, and then you look closer and kind of push his shirt, his torn shirt, to the side. You can see these, they almost look like stretch marks, lines radiating out from the wound.
So I'm incredibly concerned, and I think that it might be one of two things. So I need to reference my research book, my thesaurus of high, long medical terms.
You reach into your leather bag and pull out a book.
Suppose all that's gone. You said worms.
He's like, oh, did I? Couldn't be, right?
Did I?
So, what is your name?
It's like, oh, my name? Montresso Wind the Third. Pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Montresso Wind the Third.
Not pleased to make your acquaintance.
I apologize for breaking your shit. However, may the gods have mercy on you. And I run him through the heart with my rapier. Zante, we gotta burn this body. He's
And
contaminated.
I rolled 21
Yeah, oh yeah, you're
prior
like,
to
you're like,
that.
oh, that's interesting.
Prior to the body being taken from
Unclasping,
me.
yeah. You're like grabbing his hand, sliding rings off, like
Can I notice
unclasping. That's the sleight of hand check, is to see how
see.
well she does it. Yeah, you guys
Yeah.
do not notice it.
We have passive perceptions, and she's well above us.
You do, however, notice this bird takes his rapier right through the heart, and the man is like. He kind of looks up, he looks down at the wine, and looks like he's trying to bring it up for one last glug, but he just.
Zante, he's got the worms. We gotta burn this corpse before it spreads.
I don't disagree that we have to burn it now, but there's more information we could have gotten.
He could have gotten more information from him. We don't know if he's hearing this sound, this terrible pulsing sound. He could have told us about the worms.
I highly doubt that he knows about the worms.
He encountered something.
Then the motorcycle
My
cavalry
good
arrives.
friend, he was a tad intoxicated, but we've got to take care of him. The longer we talk to him, the more he's a threat to us.
What?
I'm sure we'll find more worms and more beating of the heart. It hasn't left us, has it?
Why do we need to burn him?
The body might be infectious.
Well, would you like to contract worms? If not, you may carry his corpse.
Unfortunately, he's correct.
Could be
And I-
worms or other ways of being undead. You could become a ghoul. Some people could even become a revenant. There are a number of ways that you could become
No
undead.
offense, man. No offense.
Can I try to just use a firebolt to hit his
Yeah,
body?
I mean, with control flame, if you guys want, you can drag him right out the front door and burn him outside.
If you take him outside and leave him in the grass, I can start the fire.
It might attract attention.
I think all the dead horses might also attract attention.
I'm attempting to attract as much attention as possible, my good doctor.
Clearly.
That is not the way I work.
Do not put it near the girls' room.
It's so far away, I'm not worried.
Okay.
Certainly someone else should drag the body somewhere.
So
Yeah, someone should drag the body out.
I'm not going.
I'll drag it out.
I'll drag it out with you. And Zante and Morella, you more stealthy types. You hide in the shadows. When I make the big noises and they come for me, you do what you gotta do.
You drag the body out. You burn it, no problem, a little bit away from the manor, if you would like. Down by the pond.
Immediately.
Yeah, head right back in. The body just burns. It takes a while, because it's not necessarily burnable yet. But you are able to finally get it to ignite and start to burn down. As you stand there, watching this corpse burn down, anyone who is outside watching that is going to need to make me a roll. For they're getting to be different rolls now. So for Madeline, I would need a Constitution saving throw. for anyone else watching, Morella, Dr. Tar, Zante, and Words of Truth, you will be rolling Wisdom. Lagia, you will be rolling Charisma if you watch the body burn. If you stay inside, you do not need to roll it. 20?
I have a dirty 20.
Okay.
Clean 20.
I got
A clean 20 as well?
I'm not
Clean
staying
20.
alone inside the room. At 12.
Okay, you're good.
12 total.
I got.
And with 5 personal.
So I have 3. And, yeah.
Wait, you rolled a 3?
Well, I rolled a 1 and I've.
Beautiful.
Here, just go ahead and try again.
Yeah.
You minus red. Why don't you read
Yeah.
again?
Oh.
Oh, look at that. How successful.
Well,
So-
All right, well, all of you watch this body burning, feel a chill run up your spine, continue feeling the dum 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 dum, except for you, Madeline. You do not hear the heartbeat. You all return to the entrance, the kind of where he was laying on the ground. You can see that there's a puddle. He had soiled himself. There's a puddle of wine. There's a puddle of vomit. You kind of have to make a wide berth of where he had. There's blood all over the place. It's rough. But beyond him, there are 2 double doors.
I think I'm going to be ill. This is far more blood and worms than I'm accustomed to. Oh my.
Goodness.
What quantity of worms are you accustomed to?
None, sir.
Okay.
None.
I'm opening the double doors. I hope they don't zap me or explode in my paint.
In fact, you open the double doors, and the only thing that happens is you kind of shrink back. Ugh, there's quite a stink. You look around, there are 3. You're in a large banquet hall. This is essentially where the party would have been taking place. Quite large, it's maybe 100 feet long and 30 feet wide. You can see there's tables along the sides. You see cakes and meats and vegetables all rotting. And in fact, as you look closer, you can see the gray shapes of rats nibbling away at all the food. On the walls, which are normally a beautiful white with purple curtains, you can see sprays of blood, arterial sprays. And you see 3 doors leading out of here, in addition to the double doors you went into. There's a door in the back, which is a plain wooden door. Around that door, bloody handprints, and all over the door, bloody handprints. To your right, you see a more ornate-looking wood door and one that looks almost identical across from it. So there's 1 door on each wall. The plain door that's far, 2 ornate-looking wooden doors, blood all over the walls, and in fact, you see 6 bodies on the ground. These bodies are similarly maimed from dinner plate-sized circular holes. They're in, there's 3 men, 3 women bodies. They are clearly dressed in finery. You do not see a blue dress like you might be expecting for Lady Eleanor. But they are clearly dead and have been for some time, as you see rats nibbling away.
Dead for some time.
At least a day. I mean,
Okay.
not like rotting, but it's been some time.
Was that the stink that was from
That and rotten food.
Okay.
Yeah.
The
Police on the bingo card. Yep.
right by
The holes. Are they?
I hope they show up like, you guys been playing Dungeons and Dragons tonight?
Are they simply gaping wounds, or are they through their bodies?
Good question. They are not through their bodies, in fact. They go maybe 1.5 inches deep. They're a little bit, they're certainly concave, kind of taper. You all have not noticed the branching off of the wounds yet. Only Dr. Tar has noticed that.
But so they are. Is it a clean cut? You're saying
It looks fairly, I mean, it is ragged-ish, but it doesn't look like, yes, it looks like not surgical, certainly, but like one fell swoop did it.
some kind of like tool.
Yes, that's accurate. Yep.
How morbid.
I think I'll be putting the torch on. This was a slaughter. Absolute slaughter.
Does it look like there's more bloody handprints on the wall than there are people on the floor?
Yes, it certainly does. There's a lot of
Some
bloody handprints.
escaped.
There's some kind of
this-
frenzy or something.
Looks
We
to
should-
be that way.
Continue on to try to find the rest of these people.
Can I look to see if there's any tracks that look not humanoid?
Good question, yes. In fact, why don't you go ahead and roll me a survival check? I'll give you advantage.
I got my hunter's bane here. I can track with advantage too, or
Perfect.
investigate. Not great. Mediocre at best. Yeah, I got a 9.
Would you like to re-roll it? You've got plenty
Sure,
of 9
I would like to
inspiration.
re-roll.
Thank you, everybody.
I got an 11.
Okay. With the 11, you walk up to one of the bodies. You see, obviously, there's pools of blood everywhere. These wounds just gushed blood. You see bloody footprints all over the place. But as you look, the bloody footprints move toward that far door where there's the bloody handprints. And you can see, almost looks like something was drugged through the blood. Maybe something about 18 inches wide. Maybe a rug or something. Drug through the blood towards that door. Not in a straight line either. Sometimes it veers. And as you are inspecting one of these corpses, you're looking at the tracks, you look back thinking, you hear a scratching, and you look down and its hands clench up. And they retract into itself, and you hear sound escaping the corpse's lungs. And as it does that, all of you kind of stand a little bit rigid in fear as that sound is repeated on the other 5 corpses around the room, echoing off these walls. And they all start to jerk. Just their hands contorting, their faces contorting, and slowly they rise. And I need everyone to roll initiative! Initiative! Yay!
Plus you're using
You roll in the
that's
16.
yeah.
Excellent.
That's also hot.
No, just 15 plus 2.
Okay, so we are, because we've got so many people, we're going to go from top to bottom. Did anyone get a 20 or higher? 19. 18.
I got a 19.
19, okay? 18. 17. 17, Lagia. 16. 15. Okay, 15. Morella. Okay, 14. 13. 12. 11. 11?
Yes.
Okay. And with just 2 left, what are you guys at?
I got a 9.
I got 3.
Solid. Okay. Okay. With that, sword drawn, already ready for danger, words of truth as you stand there. And for simplicity, we're going to assume you guys are all sort of adjacent to each other. You're all pretty close to each other. If you want to put some distance, you could go back towards the entranceway to get some distance if you'd like. But right now, I'm assuming you're all kind of clumped up together. Words of truth, there's a corpse almost directly in front of you that just jerks and brings itself to bear. It's not looking at you. In fact, it seems aware of you by other senses, and it sort of jerkily walks towards you. It is you, sir.
Well, listen here, you jerk. Don't you jerk your way over me. Draw your weapon. Oh, no. Goodbye, die. That's not great. That's an 11. Does that hit?
Unfortunately, that does not hit.
Not at all. Worse.
In fact, words of truth, you stab out Coach. That's the real MVP right here, crawling on the ground to get lost dice. That's the real MVP. Thank you, Coach. You lash out at it, but your hand just shakes a little bit at the last as you hear this dum dum. And in fact, it jerks almost in tempo with the beating. And as you stab at it, it just jerks out of the way.
This, my dear ladies, is what I call a feint. I'm setting them up for the fissure below.
Lagia, you are next.
I would like to use my blast, my Eldritch Blast.
Awesome. Perfect. So there is, I'm essentially pairing them up. There's 6 of them and 6 of you. So there's one sort of making its way towards you, but it's not yet at you.
Oh, you're still good.
Plus 5.
I think you got it, yeah.
What'd you get?
14 plus 5.
That is absolutely a hit.
I got a little 10-sided die. That's going to be a diamond-shaped one. Does not exist in science.
Yeah, so here you get it.
Now you get to roll damage.
That's a lot of damage.
Wow.
9.
9. Okay. Lagia,
From deep wood.
you see this thing and you just know, this energy that has been with you since the first time you rose. You call upon it, stick a hand out, and a purple bolt of force reaches out, slams into this thing, and it as it takes the hit, and as it hits, you see from the impact spot wriggling almost away from it. And with that, Morella.
So did she take it out?
It is still standing, but definitely not looking good.
And how many did you say we saw?
6 in total.
And they're all gathered towards...
They're standing up at various points, but for simplicity, they're all starting to come towards you, but none are adjacent yet.
Are any within 5 feet of an ally except for that one?
No, that's the only one because he kind of stepped forward to attack it. All the other ones are still about 10, 15, 20 feet away. But his is right in front of him.
So I will go ahead and attack that one.
Okay.
With my rapier.
Wonderful.
Forgot how to play. Roll to hit.
Yep, roll the hit first.
Good. How an 11?
An 11 is a hit.
Cool. I'll take it.
Wait.
No.
No, I'm sorry. An 11 is not a hit. You want to re-roll that? You guys got plenty. Sorry about that. 11 is not a
When
hit.
the DM says you've got plenty, that means use them up.
That does mean use them up.
Uh-huh.
Use them up.
How's a...
That is a definite hit right there on the one in front of Words of Truth.
So I get to use my sneak attack. So that's...
You do indeed. D8 plus D6.
Sneak attack.
Heck.
So that's going to be 10, 14.
Okay. As the one in front of Words of Truth deftly dodges the one, it cocks its head only in time for your rapier to enter the bottom of its jaw, push out an eye socket, and it sort of goes limp, falls to the ground, clatters forward, and seems to be dead.
Dies again.
And with that, we are over to you, Zante. No, we're not. I'm sorry. It is actually them. There are 5 remaining. The one that you hit with your Eldritch Blast just lurches its way towards you, sometimes taking small steps, sometimes much larger than expected steps. And it gets to you, and as it does, it turns its head to look at you, though its eyes don't focus on you, and you see movement under its face, and it contorts its face into an impossible face. And I need you to make me a charisma saving throw.
Go ahead and use one of those for your roll.
How's that?
Yes. Okay. You, again, as it makes this face, fear starts to grip you. The beating of the heart grows louder, but you're able to kind of shake it off and be like, no, I've survived. I've survived so much. This is not going to be the time I fail.
Am I able to cast a spell? Or am I just...
Not yet. Okay, Morella. One lurches its way towards you from across the room, and it does the same thing. It looks up at you, and I'm going to have the two of you make this roll as well, as it sort of looks at the 3 of you, and its face just contorting in a way that's just not humanly possible. Charisma saving throws, please. Use them up.
Do I know what the...
No. Come on. You've been playing D&D for a long time.
I figured I'd...
I'm not telling you what you need to be.
Oh, well, I rolled the same thing.
Nope.
How'd y'all do?
Everybody's going
Like a
crazy.
6 for me, dog.
6 from you? Okay. It's a hard 6. Lid?
It's a soft 6.
I got a 10.
You got a 10?
I got a 10.
And how about you, Tyler?
12.
Okay. You are just like, oh my god, that's not even humanly possible, but I suppose you kind of get lost in thought just a little bit. The 2 of you are gripped by fear, and you are now frightened. You will attack with disadvantage while you are frightened. And, Madeline, I need a Constitution saving throw from you as well. Okay, you continue to not hear this beating of this heart. Dr. Tar, one of the creatures, shambles towards you in the same way. Sometimes small steps, very unpredictable. Sometimes, like, its torso will kind of fall to the side, but it'll step this way. Very, very peculiar movement. And it comes at you, and it raises these hands that look like the nails have grown much faster than a human's should, and it reaches out to you to claw at you, and you deftly dodge out of the way. Zonti, one does the same towards you. In fact, it puts its head down and its claws out and barrels towards you. What's your armor class?
15.
That is a miss. It comes at you and you just sort of stick a foot out. Yeah, kind of slash to knock it back.
A little anxiously, almost panicked. Like,
Yes.
it doesn't have a nice flourish.
And with that, Lygia, let's see, the one that you did. And finally, Words of Truth. One of the other ones.
17.
Okay, comes and also misses. Cool, DM master. Love it. He comes at you, tries to claw. You all now, if one attacked you or made the face, you're now adjacent to the enemy. So ranged attacks will have disadvantage. And with that, we are on to Dr. Tar.
So I pull out or unsheath my rapier and basically just go in for it. I'm not having
All right.
shielded.
There is one right in front of you. You may go for it.
Yeah.
So that was something.
Is that a hit?
So 13?
That's a hit.
Yes.
So you will get sneak attack damage. So roll a d8 and add a d6.
Okay.
Essentially, you wait till it's distracted and strike.
Have an 8.
Plus 3.
11?
Put together.
Altogether.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. You sort of dodge out of the way as it comes and attacks you. Wait for the moment when it looks at one of your comrades and deftly just drive the rapier right through its torso where you expect its heart to be. And it kind of looks at you and grabs the hilt and just... as you kind of use your foot to push it off the blade and it collapses to the ground. Anything else, Dr. Tar?
No, I guess I will maybe try to go back into the shadows, though? Maybe?
Yeah, you could do that. You can pull back. Yeah, you can pull back. You won't be able to hide.
Well, I feel
it's
good about the fighting now, so
Yeah.
I'll keep going.
all right. Zonti, it is your
All
turn.
right, to the one right in front of me, I'll take a step forward and try to plunge my rapier.
Okay, go for it.
See, that is a 19, my friend.
That is a definite hit, my dude.
That is 11 damage.
Similar to the other ones, you saw how effectively the rapiers could be. You line up the shot, and though it's a little bit unpredictable, you're able to put a hand on it to kind of steady it for a second and just right through the neck. And it sort of looks at you, falls down, and as it falls down, you can see its face continuing to writhe a little bit. Zonti, anything else for your turn?
No, I will. Actually, I will. I will move to whoever is closest to me to be engaged also with the enemy.
Okay.
That is adjacent to them.
Got
Whoever
it.
maybe.
We'll say you go and you stand next to Madeline.
Okay. I'll saddle up next to her with my electric sword.
Speaking of which, Madeline, it is your turn.
Okay. There's one right in front
There
of
is one right in front of you.
Okay, well, first Madeline is going to cover her face, so she would not become suspicious.
Okay. You see her fighting, not the face.
Were you frightened or was it just us?
I'm frightened, yeah.
Two of you were frightened. Or, yeah. It was the two of you who were frightened.
Yeah. So I'm going to attack at disadvantage using a shocking grasp.
Okay.
Oh shoot, what's my spell to hit? Plus
Plus 5, probably.
5, yeah. So the lowest would be a 15.
That is a hit.
Cool. And shocking grasp.
D8.
D8. 2.
Nice. Big 2 on it.
Big
Okay.
2. But I would also now like to back away.
Oh, out of engagement of it?
He can't take reactions.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that is right. She reaches a hand out and plants it into its chest, and as you do, you feel it just writhing under the skin. But you see electricity kind of go through, and it takes the hit, and you kind of deftly back up, covering your face. You are now at range, away from everybody.
Okay. Can I make a roll to see if I'm still afraid of it, or does it happen?
That's a great question. Yes, you do make it at the end of each turn. Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
And what was it?
Wisdom. No, charisma.
Charisma. So I have 14.
Yeah. Now that you've hit it, you're like, okay, I got this. We're now back to the top of the round. To remind you of the scene, you all are sort of clumped together. Madeline has pulled back a little bit from the group. There is one that is in perfect health, standing right in front of Morella. There is one that is sort of close to Zanti and probably near Dr. Tar that has a little bit of lightning damage. You can see some kind of streaks coming out from it. And the one in front of Lygia is barely holding it together. It's like barely standing. Looks like the flesh has been severely damaged. And with that, words of truth, you are up, sir.
Yes, I'm skewering the one in perfect health. I rolled a 24 to hit, and if that hits, it does 10 points of damage.
Okay. That makes it easy for me. You do, in fact, reach out, stab into it with your rapier. It drops to one knee, but doesn't quite look like it's fully down yet. It's kind of clawing at the air.
Big from the boy, big.
Okay. Sorry. Lygia, you are up.
I am. I'm concerned about this thing in front of me that has things tendriling out. I would like to destroy whatever is happening.
Okay, you want to use your Eldritch Blast to try to slam at it again?
Another blast at it?
Yeah. Or do you have another attack spell that you might prefer to use?
I don't know if this would be useful. I think I'll stick with the blast.
Stick with the blast. You will have disadvantage, unfortunately, because it's right in front of you. Anything ranged, when something's right in front of you, you suffer from disadvantage, because it's kind of clawing at you as you try to cast a spell. So roll 2 and take the lowest.
Yep. I'm going to take the lowest. Ouch.
It's the lowest.
Well, if you would like, you've got some beautiful rerolls right there. You can just roll one.
Still roll. Oh, just
roll one blue. Yep.
That was
Oh, that sweet baby blue.
That is a critical hit. That is a 20. So, on a critical hit, you roll double the damage.
Okay.
So it's normally 110. It is now 2d10.
Hey, that's your first crit.
Congratulations. First crit, right? Yeah, first crit. 20 damage.
Well, wait.
Nope.
2 plus...
It is 12.
12. Okay. Either way, yeah. I mean, it comes at you. Its claws raise, and you plant a foot back, cast your spell, put your palms together, and this just purple light, searing light, just burns into it as it. And it, in fact, takes so much damage it is split in half and falls to the ground in pieces. With that,
I fall to pieces.
the one in front of Morella kind of continues lurching towards you. It's pretty hurt because words of truth just hit. As a matter of fact, Raven, roll me a die. High, low.
I was going to say, lurching towards her?
Yes, high, low.
I get an opportunity attack.
No. You're all adjacent to it.
8.
You got a high? Okay, so you were high. It comes at you, claws at you. Does get you, unfortunately. Whew. 8 damage.
I'm down to 1 HP, and I'm going to use my reaction to fade away.
Ah, sweet. In fact, you all see this creature that just took a hit from Words of Truth. It's sort of like it listens to figure out its next target, reaches out, and its claws just dig into Morella. You hear her shout as it rakes down her chest a little bit, and she kind of steps backwards, and you're all like, oh shit, well, where did she go? And she has disappeared, at least probably out of the entranceway. At least that's how you rationalize it. But you do not see
Morella's
her
done
at all.
taken by the shadow. Oh, jeez.
And the other one comes for you. No, it will not attack Madeline because you backed off. Dr. Tar, as a matter of fact, it reaches around towards you and a claw just slowly comes at you like it's trying to grab and rend at your face. And what's your armor class?
14.
That is a hit, unfortunately. And you will take 7 points of damage as this claw grabs you and you shriek. Ah! You just can't hold it. It digs and pulls a chunk of flesh and armor and shirt. And that, friends, is them. So we are over to Dr. Tar. As you're standing there just clutching at your wound.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take the healing potion.
Awesome. You can do that as a bonus action.
Wonderful.
Give it a shake.
Shake it.
Give it a drink.
I'm actually drinking.
You have to drink it.
I prepared them for you.
I'm sure it's so tasty.
We're all gonna watch. Okay. All
Don't honk.
down the hat. Down the hatch.
All of it.
So weird to make people drink something.
Look out.
It's not alcoholic. It's just Gatorade.
It's just cool.
Yes. Just lovely.
Okay.
How refreshing.
So you can roll 2d4. Roll 2d4.
Okay.
Add 2, and that is how much you heal. Lid, can you help him out? 2d4?
Yes.
As I help her out.
Yep. You got another one there. I'll just roll that twice.
Okay. Thank you. I couldn't find it.
Okay, so 3, and then you add 2. So
So you heal back 5. You pull this potion from your belt pouch, pop the cork, chug it down, and then you get your action. So you can still attack.
Okay. All right. So then I'm gonna go ahead and I want to do something fun. I'd like to use my dagger, but I guess I have to step back because it's a
No. Well, you can either throw it or you can stab with it.
I'm gonna go and stab.
Okay, yeah, no problem. You drink it, toss the bottle to the ground, throw your rapier to your other hand, pull a dagger from your belt, and
19.
those dice
So,
are terrible.
good.
We make fun of Coach all the time. Coach, so nice of you to loan
Yeah,
these
they're
dice that
beautiful,
nobody
though.
can read.
I got it.
That's 19.
That is a hit, and so you will do D4 plus a D6 because it is still sneak attack damage.
What did I go there? Okay. So 5, and then what do I read on that one?
Plus,
3, so you take the top one.
Oh,
yeah. So you rolled 5 on your dice, and then you add
I
3.
see. Okay.
Okay, and with that, you pop the potion, throw it down, take the dagger out, stick it in the stomach, and rip upwards. And as you do, the tear opens up, and you can see wriggling from within the flesh as it collapses on the ground, folding backwards. And with that, we are over to you, Morella.
I am going to.
You are invisible right now.
So I'm going to disengage.
Okay, you don't even have to when you're invisible. No opportunity attacks when you're
Gotcha.
invisible.
Well, I'm going to move to a part of the room that those things aren't near.
Okay, yeah, you kind of go off in one of the corners.
And I'm going to.
Bonus action.
Yeah.
Are there more? I want to drink one.
Yeah.
It's
I made some extras in case we happen to find.
Oh, you're not going to find any. So you'll find none. Yes.
2d4.
Yep, 2d4 plus 2.
Six points.
Okay, and then you still have a full action, and you are invisible.
Am I still frightened? Do I need to make a save?
You are still frightened. You get your save at the end of your turn, but because you're invisible, you get advantage, so you'll roll normal if you attack. Because you have disadvantage and advantage.
If she's invisible, can she attack and then leave and not get an opportunity attack?
When you attack, you become when you're invisible and attack, you become visible.
I think for my action, I'm just going to. Where's the nearest skeleton by?
The nearest shambling corpse was right in front of you, which now puts it next to Words of Truth and Madeline.
I'm going to walk behind Words of Truth and just whisper in his ear, "Kill it. You've got this. I know you can do it. Kill it."
Nice. I will let you do the help action. He can attack with advantage on his roll. Now you can roll to get rid of your frightened DC 12 charisma save. And with that, we're to the top of the turn. There is only one of these creatures left. Words of Truth. Yes.
Dante and Madeline.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Dante and Madeline.
I'm sorry. I don't know how I skipped that.
Oh my
Yes.
God.
Because I saw that M's, my handwriting's so bad, it's M's scribble, and I thought Morella was at the end. So in
Oops,
fact,
did we accidentally...
no, we're good. We are good, I think.
What else?
Yeah, whatever. Who was supposed to be next? Dr. Tar went, then Zanti. Yes, you're next. I'm
Is
sorry, I
there a
skipped you.
corpse next to me?
There certainly can be. It's like 10 feet away.
I'll go too.
Yeah. You're kind of surrounding the last one now.
That won't do it, I'm afraid. So,
How many blue dice you got over there?
oh yeah, we're gonna
Do it.
do it.
Do it.
Okay.
Do it.
Oh, that's not much better. So no, I'm afraid I just am furiously stabbing and I can't quite get its clockwork.
You attempt to stab at it. Cannot bring it home. With that, who's next? Madeline. You have now gotten yourself away from the last surviving spawn creature.
I will hit it with a firebolt.
Okay? We'll try to hit it with a firebolt.
Did you say it was spawn?
No, I
I
didn't.
try again.
Okay, burn it. No! That is, in fact, you aim and a bolt of flame just passes over everyone's heads, slams into the white, pristine walls, and leaves a huge burn mark where your firebolt hit.
Watch where you're firing.
To the top of the round, words of truth.
The white pristine wall was covered in blood.
It was,
It's
yes.
not like it
You're not the one that ruined the place. You're right, you didn't ruin it. Words of truth.
I
Only
only run him through the mouth part of his face. I rolled a 14 to hit, and that would be 9 damage.
Okay, great. Wait till your turn to roll if you would, because it's fun. We want to cheer when you get a 20. Just you don't have to. Don't worry about speaking up too much.
There's 6 players.
Did you roll with advantage?
What's that? Yeah, he rolled with advantage. It's okay. Die rolling is half the fun. But that is a hit, and in fact, you reach out, grab the creature. She is urging you on. You feel emboldened. You take your blade and just stick it right through the chest and the rib cage. Pull it out. Hold on to it for a second as you see this long, thin, just wriggle out, covered in viscera, kind of pulls back in, and you drop the body. You all stand here, panting, breathless after the fight. I need Morella, Dr. Tar, Zanti, and Words of Truth to make me a wisdom saving throw. Madeline, I need you to make me a constitution saving throw. And Ligia, I need you to make me a charisma saving throw. What'd you get?
14.
You're good. Madeline, what'd you get?
Dirty 20.
Dr. Tar, how about you?
20.
Okay.
Dirty or clean?
Zanti.
Hey, dirty 20.
Did you roll it?
Wonderful. I'm so happy for you all.
dirty.
Ligia.
Okay.
Okay.
Lucky
We just made
seven.
this up just now.
Okay. You, sir. All right, everybody.
It's a slippery slope.
Words of truth. You are standing there breathing. You see this squelching thing pull into the corpse as you drop it. You're panting and just dum 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 dum. It gets louder and you start to feel hot and you feel a little bit faint. You look around. Bloody corpses lying on the ground. There are 3 doors before you. And with that, everybody, we are going to take our first break. The players can have a short rest. The characters can have a short rest on the break. We hope you'll stick with us, and we'll be back in about 10 minutes. Thank you all.
Thanks, everyone.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for sticking it out for the break. Thank you all for being here. This is so exciting to us, for us, whatever. Thank you all for the generous donations. Again, this is all coming straight to the Poe Museum, which we feel very strongly about supporting right here in our home city. I'm going to take just a quick second to let Tyler and Debbie kind of give their spiel, talk for a quick second about the museum. If any of you are near Richmond, Virginia, or traveling through the area, please do come check it out. It's really a wonderful place to visit. We've got a lot of pictures we've taken from around the courtyard we can post for you, but the exhibits inside are wonderful. It's just a fantastic place. So thank you all for having us. We really are so happy to be here. Hope you guys are having fun playing some Dungeons & Dragons. We think it's a perfect fit. This was Raven's idea, original concept to come up with, trying to do something with you guys, and I'm so glad we followed through on that. So Tyler or Debbie, I'll let one of you guys take a quick second, talk about the museum if you would.
Yeah, well, I will kind of just echo that. First of all, thank you so much for the donations and stuff. We are a nonprofit, and so as a small museum, that is something that definitely helps us to be able to do things like this, to keep the lights on past 5 p.m., so we definitely appreciate it. And also, we really appreciate the Raven came to us about this. I think it's the coolest thing ever. I think Poe would be just ecstatic about
Poe would play Dungeons & Dragons.
Oh, yeah.
He'd be a warlock, for sure.
He would be amazing at it.
He'd be the DM who did not want to get
Yeah, it would be very, very much by the rules as well. So, but yeah, so we definitely appreciate it as well. And we've been here, kind of a staple of the city, really, of Richmond since 1922. And our primary purpose here is to interpret the life and legacy of Edgar Allan Poe, most importantly for an entire global audience. And so that's something that we find really important. And so I was so ecstatic to do this because this is a whole new group of people who probably already love Poe, and if they don't, would love Poe. And so I was really excited for us to kind of explore this, another realm of our kind of global audience. And so I could talk for hours about it, so I'll let Debbie talk about it.
A lot of people ask why Richmond. When people think of Poe, they often think Baltimore or even Boston, Philadelphia even. Richmond was Poe's hometown. He was orphaned here before his 3rd birthday. He was taken in by the Allen family, lived right down the road from us, spent more years in Richmond than in any other city. 13 of his 40 were here. He came here, this is where he fell in love for the first time. It's where he started writing poetry for the very first time. He came back here to begin his career in publications, working at the Messenger building, which our shrine here is built out of, using those wreckage materials.
Awesome. I saw someone commenting on the brickwork earlier.
Yeah.
This is
He was married right here.
Yeah. It's real brick, right? Yeah, it's not our it's not our real brick TM.
Very old historic brick. He was married in Richmond, and then at the time of his death in Baltimore, he was engaged to be married yet again here in Richmond. So we didn't save any of his houses in Richmond, but we have the largest known collection in the world of Poe's writings, first editions, letters, but also personal belongings like his boot hooks, his nail file, hair, his socks. Everyone wears socks. So come to the museum. We hope you'll come. We're open every day except Mondays.
Very cool. Thank you again for hosting us. We're having a blast. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yes.
A lot of thankfulness.
Yeah, we should just do
A
that.
lot of love. Hey, that's what D&D does. Brings people together. We love it. I would also like to give a personal thank you to Kelsey Dion, if you're watching, Arcade Library.
Oh, yeah.
This adventure is incredible. The way she writes her adventures, for you DMs out there, everything fits on one page, and I'll just, the thing that caught my attention is every page, and Sean can attest to this, has the dramatic question, what's the thing this page focuses on, and then how do you move on once that's resolved. And so it's a very narrative flow to adventure writing. They're wonderful, so make sure to check out her adventures. Thank you also to our sponsors, Devon Rue, we love ya. Tabletop Lou, Libris Arcana. Did you get the Devon Rue? Babe, I got the Devon Rue. Babe, I got the Devon Rue.
The minis?
Babe, I got the minis. What are we doing?
Get the tabletop Lou.
Tabletop Loot, you guys know them, love them. Awesome dice. We've got so many giveaways. Libris Arcana, more awesome dice. We've got our friend Kurt started a Twitter just for promotion tonight. He painted a wonderful miniature to give away, but he is a very artistic dude. Check his site out if you would. Close friend of ours. He does oil color,
Oh, he just made a
watercolor,
portrait for
oil
my
paintings.
next character. I'll post that
Yes.
and tag him.
Lydia's
He's
upcoming
great.
character for our upcoming Waterdeep heist, dragon heist character is a beautiful painting he did for us. So thank you to them. Let's see, I swear I had more thanks. I guess it is really important to me to thank Andrew, who is back here off camera. Andrew is running everything. He's running the show. That's right. He's
Also,
the
Vanna White,
producer.
Coach.
Yep, I'm getting to Coach. And also, Coach is our runner. He is running. You maybe catch him just on the glimpse on the outside of the camera, the periphery. He's running things back and forth as we get divine inspiration, running them to the players, and was here since 5 o'clock today helping us get set up. So thank you guys. Thank you all for playing today. Let's finish up this adventure because it's about to get really tight.
Quick question.
Yes.
Should I make a worm tracker?
For you, yes, of course. All right. So you are standing in this large ballroom. In the distance, to remind everybody, a plain wooden door, bloody handprints all around it, and bloody tracks leading towards the door. To your right, a nice wood-paneled door, dark cherry wood maybe, and to your left, a similar door on opposite walls. Both of those doors are shut. The far door is also shut. What do you all do? And if you'd like a moment, again, you all have just recovered from this harrowing fight as corpses of partygoers rose to fight you. Each and every one of you is hearing a heartbeat that you just can't shake, minus Madeline. You just hear thump thump, thump thump, thump thump. What do you all do?
Is there a mirror in the room?
Great question. Yes, there are. Yeah, mostly blood smeared.
Okay. I would just like to go and check in the mirror, check my face, make sure
Okay. Yeah.
everything's...
You're a vampire.
As she's doing that, I'm going to carefully, I'm still invisible,
You are still invisible.
walk
Right?
up behind her and just touch her face a little and say, we need to continue on.
Do you
I'm
think
still
that's
here in the
spooked you?
room.
Huh?
Do you think that might have spooked you?
It might have been the afterlife.
I think I'd like you to roll a Constitution check, and then you can reply to what she said.
I got it. I don't
I'm trying. I'm trying.
I'm still here. Just don't leave me behind, please.
I'm going to try to work out the shakes in my hand and look around and raise myself back up and say, something was dragged this way. Like it was on a carpet, but it zigzags in a normal serpentine pattern.
Does the dragging lead to the door with the blood-stained hands all over?
It does indeed, yes.
Is there still any hooch available in this room? I've got the shakes and the shivers and the quivers, and I need a strong drink if I'm going to be kicking down any more doors.
There are, in fact, bottles of wine all on one table. You pick it up and you can see a fine label. It seems to be of the Amontillado variety.
All right. Shake and shake to catch a bottle, and that'll come a little out. I'm going to take a swig and kick open the bloody-handed door.
Okay, great. You walk all the way across the room, sidestepping bloody footprints and bloody drag marks. In fact, as you get to the door to kick it open, you can see that it is not on its hinges. It is leaning sort of against the wall. And you can see around, you see spalling in the metal plates. You can see splintered bits of wood. As you don't even have to put any effort behind it, you can kind of stick your foot out the door and collapses on the other side. You peer in and you can see a long, large galley-type kitchen. It's very long, but still got some, 30 feet wide. It's like an enhanced galley kitchen. There's food that's rotting in pots. You can see bodies everywhere. Probably 18 bodies. In various regalia, you do see people who are dressed as partygoers. You also see people who appear to be servants. You see plain clothes.
Probably Jenny's mom.
Yeah, you could maybe surmise that. Except it's very difficult to ID any one person because this is a bloody, ragged mess. And as you kind of look in, you can see that the door was forced open, and these bodies are lying everywhere. And as you look in, you even see one of the hands kind of clench.
Shambling corpse style.
It certainly is reminiscent of that, although, you kind of tense up as it happens, and it doesn't seem to follow up just yet.
All right, time to, I'm going to grab a hand of coins, because I have them. I'm very wealthy. I'm just going to kind of spread them into the room and see if any of the corpses animate from the raining copper and silver.
Okay, yes. You toss money in and peg some of them in the head, kind of toss them towards the back. You see some twitching, but nothing seems to animate. You kind of give it some time. I mean, it's still
Need live
unsettled.
blood. Madeline, come here. Sorry.
I use my mage hand to go pick up his coins.
All of them.
Perhaps it's the worms inside of them that are making them move. Muscle movements of some kind. Do you think they're controlling their brains? Do you think they ate their brains?
Not quite likely. You can certainly call them. I'm going to pull out my...
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, this one I'm playing.
We got a praying mantis that show?
That's why I screeched earlier.
Here, I'll
He's going for you.
Everyone,
come on, buddy. Let's get out of here.
How wonderful.
just
Be strong for the street.
No!
Camera. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, come on,
He's
buddy.
okay. That's just a praying mantis. He's gonna eat the flies for us.
Yeah, that's great, but do it over there.
Fine specimen.
He's like pulsating.
Andrew, you want to come get this for us? You want to take care of it?
I want you
Andrew
guys
really
to
likes
know that
bugs.
Look him off.
this-
Where's Ephemera right now? She can identify
Right
this
there.
for
This
us.
praying mantis is just
Look
going
him
like this,
That way.
Come, friend.
Yeah, go ahead and shoo him out. All right, see you, buddy.
Okay.
Look, yeah, he's gonna go eat bugs.
That's why I screeched.
Okay.
earlier. And everyone else was
Hey, you really held it together. I mean, all we got was a faint kind of.
Oh my
I was
Big-
gonna
that's
work
a big
into
old
the
mantis.
story. It was like a slide.
Yes, this is my friend, Dr. Mantis
sweating.
Toboggan. Okay, wow. That was the joys of streaming outside. That was not on anyone's bingo card, I don't think.
No.
Foresaw that. Okay, to bring it back. Room full of corpses. They are twitching when you make an effort to disturb them.
How many are there again?
Probably 18. Between 15 and 20, it's hard to tell. There's blood all over the floor, all over the walls. It's a mess in here.
Do we have to go through this room to get
You
to...
do not. No, this is. In fact, there is a door that leads outside. Sort of, it's like the kitchen door where they might run to grab water or whatever. It is. I mean, there's a mound of corpses in front of that door.
I say we shut the door.
I think we should at least ascertain if any of the people in this room is the lady we seek.
Lady Eleanor.
Does anyone recognize her dress on any of the bodies?
Oh
Are you
yeah, we
looking-
do know. It's a blue dress, right?
Anyone is welcome to roll investigation.
I don't think our Lady Eleanor's in here.
But everyone who does roll investigation, as you are peering into a mass of blood and viscera, I will need you to make your next roll. So who rolled investigation? Show of hands? Okay, great. Let me make sure I got this right. Morella, you need to make a wisdom save.
I figured.
Madeline, you need to make constitution. Dr. Tar, you need to make wisdom. Zanti, wisdom. Lygia, charisma. Words of truth, do you
I was
abstain?
investigating.
You abstain from the investigation. You're like, nope.
You
Don't
said
get my
wisdom.
feathers dirty. Yes. I got you. Yeah. What'd you roll?
I got a 21.
Got 9 charisma.
9 charisma. Great.
I got 8 wisdom.
8 wisdom. Okay.
16.
Lydia.
I rolled a 15.
Okay, great. Lygia, can you please roll me a D12? No, I'm sorry, a D10. Just a D10.
Or Lygia.
Take the stack of names.
This
Is that okay? So keep.
Yeah, just keep that.
Lygia, you rolled a 3. The beating inside your head. Sorry, wait. Before we do it, who else failed? Who else was low? You were low, right?
Yeah.
You rolled
yeah,
an 8. Okay. The pounding of this heart in your head gets overbearing. As you're looking at the bodies, you stagger and you have to catch yourself on a wall. Dum, 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 dum. You have to cover your eyes. It's starting to hurt so bad. It's like it's trying to pound its way outside of your head, and your thoughts start to no longer be your own. You have indefinite madness right now. And this madness is such. You believe that the end is nigh, and there is no hope for the world, for surely all will be devoured.
With mortal pangs, they become its food. This is terrible. There is nothing that we can't stay here. We are all to be consumed. We are all to be consumed.
As she says this, Dr. Tar, come on, stop beeping your horn. What are you doing? We're trying to do a D&D thing here.
This is
trying to play D&D.
She's dying.
You also just, as you watch her, you're like, oh my god, she's losing her mind. Oh my god. You take ill. You just feel dizzy. You have to put a hand out to brace yourself. The pounding has gotten so loud.
Doctor, you mind checking her for the worms?
I think if she continues yelling, I'm gonna push her up against the wall and cover her mouth. Just
I can't.
trying.
They are coming out of these bodies, and we are to be the food. We are to be consumed.
Then let's get out of here. I grab by the hand of that. Come on.
I managed to like somewhat regain myself. I'm obviously like,
You're feeling awful, but you can.
Yeah.
I mean, you know this is a dire situation.
I become insane.
very nauseous and holding back, throwing up. I'm gonna come over to you after
To slay that person.
I hope they're watching. They're like, oh, I'm gonna let everybody know I'm watching.
and I'm gonna grab some more laudanum because that's really all we got in the 19th century. So, and hopefully to calm you down because it seems as though you're having some sort of panic attack. I still haven't totally come to terms with the fact that this heartbeat that everyone's hearing is real or whatever.
The voices. The voices.
The voice.
Help me if you can help me.
What do they say?
They tell that we are to all pass and that there's nothing here for us, that we are to be consumed. It's just...
Doctor, do you have any medicine you can give her?
I do.
I do.
Only laudanum.
I am afraid to. The voices will come.
Are you hearing it? Are you hearing?
No. Those aren't the voices I hear. You must be quiet. You must
But
be
they're getting
quiet.
louder. Doctor, can you administer laudanum to me?
Most certainly. I do it to my own self for fun. And I'm going to take her I'm going to take her out of the big room, right? Well, into
When you
the
go back
previous
into
room.
the ballroom?
Yeah,
Kind
back
of
to the
help
ballroom.
her and like ground her.
Perfect. You take a tincture of laudanum and you calm down somewhat. The madness does not abate. Your slight control of it does. You certainly haven't lost control of your character for the adventure, but your underlying thought is, we're dead. Like, the whole world is dead. We're dead. Everyone here is dead. This is the end. You guys are doing it.
Welcome to the club. Oh, thank you.
Okay.
So can I just like constantly be
Ready
getting
to shoot some
walking?
paper on our Lord and Savior Orcus?
So, to revisit the investigation you all performed, it is grisly work. You kind of push some bodies aside. You do see some blue dresses, but thanks to Morella's, I guess her friendship with Lady Eleanor, she knows that none of them are her style. And she certainly knows the jewelry that the lady possesses because she's had her heart set on it for some time. You do not see Lady Eleanor's body in
I fear
this.
the lady is not in this room. Well, might be fortunate for her, but
Can I say
we're going to continue on.
Door number 2.
We should move with haste. I don't like being in this place any longer than we have to. I can feel it.
Is Lygia okay?
We need to leave as soon as we possibly can.
Should we put some cloth in her mouth and bind it with some rope so that she doesn't alert anyone to our presence?
I would say that might make her even more.
But it's absolutely primeval.
Does anyone have any wine we can give her?
I have plenty. Here, drink up. It won't do anything about the voices, but they'll say me cooler stuff.
The wine and the laudanum combines to make you, while still lucid, you're pretty woozy.
It's magically
Got it pretty
delicious.
under control. What were you gonna say?
No.
This might be a weird question. What is like the ratio? How many people who are those corpses are the servants compared to like the?
You see
partygoers?
4 servants.
That's- okay,
Yep,
so-
4 servants, and so 14 partygoers and 4 servants. 2 women, 2 men.
Okay, yeah.
Where are the rest of the servants?
That explains the
Where are
corpses.
I'll just slowly close that door back and be
Okay.
let's just leave this for now. There's nothing to do in here.
You're still invisible, right? Okay.
I have to go. Which door? Left or right?
Anywhere we go, we're doomed.
Anyone beyond Nigeria want to tell us left or right?
No, to be honest, I happen to be a follower of hell, and we always choose the right in our faith, so we are going to follow through the right door.
Excellent.
Will someone lead me?
Yes, by all means, hold my shoulders Congo line style.
All right, you all go to the right door. It is well appointed, wood paneling, very nice, pretty thick. It's got a potentially mithril handle, very ornate looking handle. It is unlocked. You push the door open, and before you see a richly appointed library. You see sitting chairs all over the place. You do see some torches that are burning very low, but looks like they're still burning. Bookcases lining the walls, obviously everywhere. You've got the sliding ladder, the rolling ladder. There's a couch. There's a whole sitting area. And as you come in here, all of you who are hearing the heart, there's also a pendulum clock, and it's this. It's a large grandfather clock with this. It's like almost looks like a sharp pendulum. It's just, and it's almost mesmerizing as you hear it clicking. And it's gleaming metal. The pendulum, shining, oiled perhaps.
Can I try to remember something about this clock? As if I've been to Moldavia?
Sure. If you've been to Moldavia, or maybe you've heard about it.
Like before it was all...
I'll tell you what, why don't you roll me a history check?
Okay.
I might be able to assist. I am a well-to-do gentleman of these parts.
I would allow that. You can either give him advantage or you can roll as well.
We'll give him advantage.
Okay, you can roll 2 dice and take the best.
I'm going to put my fingers inside my ear with both the clock in sync and then the heartbeat and just try to shake off the metal.
Fill him with wax.
I have 12.
Okay, with a 12, you vaguely, you feel like you remember something about this clock. You feel like you remember it maybe had some magical properties to it. You feel like the metal of the pendulum might not be iron or steel, but might be something a little more valuable. Might be mithril, silver perhaps.
What time does the clock read?
The clock reads the accurate time, as a matter of fact, which at this point is 3:15 in the morning.
My goodness.
The heartbeat sound, does it sync with the swinging?
It seems to be, but you're not sure if that's in your head or not, because it's almost a mesmerizing. And it's one of those where it syncs up and then maybe slowly gets off, and then it's completely off.
Blinker in front of you.
And, oh yeah, and then it gets back on, and so yeah, it is a little bit mad.
Can I search around? Did any footprints lead into the room?
They did not. No footprints led into
Does
the
anything look
library.
disheveled in here? Does it all look pretty?
It looks good. There is some food left out. Looks like people were maybe in here at some point. There's some wine goblets left. Maybe one spilled on a table. You see a book half open, and as you push it closed, you see that it is called, oh God, what's it called?
Bats.
Oh my
Don't
gosh,
you see
that
that
was an
bats flew
actual
open?
bat.
There were 2 bats that just flew around. Perfect. That's awesome.
Holy hell.
You ever hear a kinkou scream like a small child?
All kinds of wildlife. We should stream outside more often. You find Tamerlane and other poems cracked open on the. You push it shut.
I saw no heaven but in her eyes.
Why did you say that?
I want to know the nature of,
came to it.
not all of the books, but most of the books. Do they seem to have a
It's a pretty
common
vast
genre
collection.
or
He's got a
language?
vast collection. There are things in ancient languages that you certainly can see, and you're like, that's Draconic. Oh, that's Deep Speech.
But
That's
we're
interesting.
doing. I don't want
Yeah.
to stay here. Right?
But as you peruse the titles somewhat quickly, you find a pretty varied, something that would be in a lord's estate. You find things, nonfiction, economic theory. You find some medical texts. Certainly nothing more lay texts, right? But you also find some fiction. You find poetry books. It's a pretty vast collection.
Okay.
Are you looking for your own book on the walls?
Perhaps. I'm curious if there's any
Why don't you?
medical
I'll tell you what.
index.
We'll do this. We'll give it a 50% chance. Roll a die, and if it's high, you find your own book.
Wonderful. 9.
Unfortunately, in fact, you find yourself a little disappointed. Like, oh, here's the medical stuff.
Perhaps
Are
we
you-
found Professor Feather's book.
Yeah.
My good doctor, are you looking for your book? I draw from my coat jacket his book. And it has research that belonged to him that would prove a lot of his theories, but those pages had gone missing.
Wonderful.
Put it back. Wield to me.
Can I now establish that I don't like him?
Now you could not like me, or we could find a way to return you to the proper pedestal you deserve to be elevated on, but now is not the time. I'll give you my agent's contact information. With that said, I don't like this clock.
And as he says that, the clicking of the pendulum and the beating of the heart just seem to be reaching a cacophony. Just dum 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 dum.
That's
click,
it.
click, click, dum dum. You're just
I've got to take this clock apart. And take out my crowbar and some other tools.
all right. In fact, you all hear that disembodied voice like what? And then you just see the glass, and it stops ticking. And as you grab it, it feels cold and powerful. You can see that it's like maybe this long. This almost seems to be a handle, and it comes down, reaches out into a curve, and it seems to be attached to a wooden dowel. It's sort of like bolted into this wooden dowel.
How hard do the bolts seem to be?
You could reasonably pry it loose, I think. Since it's kind of hanging there. Yeah, you kind of grab it and kind of yank, and the dowel splits a little bit, and you pull it, and it's kind of well balanced. You kind of, you all see it fade from view as it becomes invisible with her. But as you're looking at this and you run your thumb along the edge, it's quite sharp, maybe razor sharp. And when you see the back side of it, you can see runes in Elvish.
I speak
Do you
Elvish.
speak Elvish?
Yeah.
All right. It is called Night Eye. And it will grant you dark vision while you hold it. I butchered the actual name, but it's something like that. Sorry, Kelsey. Ghost Eye. It is called Ghost Eye. That's even cooler. That's way cooler.
And I feel that it could maybe be used as a weapon. It's so sharp.
You do, in fact.
How much? What might I rock down for the damage?
It would be equivalent to a short sword +1. So it would do an additional +1 to hit, and then do a 1d6 +1 plus your dex to hit. And while holding it, you get 60 feet of dark vision. And as you hold it, you just, almost whisper these elvish runes. You can see that it was an ancient weapon, perhaps.
What is the hit?
It'd be whatever your dex attack is. So it'd be identical to your rapier,
Oh, okay. You said +1.
but +1, yeah. So your rapier, I think, is +5, so this will be +6 for you. As she stops that, you all feel some relief, because now it's only the beating of the heart, but the clicking has stopped.
I'm fine.
Well, that solved one problem.
There's not much else to see in this room. It's certainly not going to show us where Eleanor is. Let's keep going.
We should go to the other one.
It's late.
Left now? Yes.
Words of truth.
I shall lead the way.
I'm following.
All right. Gather round, children. I'm going to show you how to open the left door. And I kick it open, just like all the others.
Enter this door, kicking it open, and you find a well-appointed master bedroom. You see a huge bed, banisters, net kind of hanging over it, drawn closed. You see fine furniture. There's a leather couch. There's a love seat. You see an armoire with a mirror hanging on it. You also see a large desk with an ink well and a pen in it. And sitting at that desk, you see a man, which we're going to come back to, because just to his right, you see a large 5-foot diameter hole in the floor that leads down into darkness from where you're at. Getting back to the man, he seems young, dark hair, sitting with his back to you. He's clutching his ears. And as you all come in, he kind of perks up, but doesn't turn around to look at you. And he speaks as if he's talking to someone else. And he says, I knew what I was doing, when I killed the old vulture. I was so careful that night, so very careful not to make a sound as I entered his room. It had to be done. He watched me with his eye, watched me through the walls, watches me still. And he turns to you all and looks at you all, says, do you hear it too? The infernal beating! The beating of his heart!
In the Baron's voice, I respond with, "What have you done with my Eleanor?" That's Dumbledore, sorry.
Close enough. Close enough.
Eleanor, where is she?
He looks at you and says, "Oh, well, all of the party members, everyone who showed up to dance and dine, they are no more, I'm afraid."
Not you, my lad.
No, I don't understand. It's the worms. They seemed like I was kin. I don't understand it. I don't. Ah, the infernal beating! And as you look, he turns to you all. He's just pale, and his eyes are sunken, and there's beads of sweat all over his forehead.
How long have you been hearing this?
He says, "Since the night I killed him. Yes, I killed him. I'm not sorry for it. And I was following me everywhere as a cursed, a demon, I swear it."
I see.
You've potentially consigned all of us to the same fate. We hear this beating.
I don't judge. I've taken 3 lives since I've been on this estate.
He says, "You hear the beating too? You do? Wow.
I do not.
Peculiar, peculiar."
Sounds a little like this. Hear it. It is deafening.
The man in the eye is going to come back. He's going to come back. We are all doomed. We are all doomed.
I think we can talk reasonably.
He says, "Of course. I'm happy to speak reasonably. Anything you'd like."
What was your relationship like with this man?
He was my father, of course. He was the Count. A vile man, to be sure. You know his reputation. Vile and villainous.
We heard quite the opposite.
Well, not from me, you didn't. Not from those who knew him closely. Oh, stop the beating! And he just punches his fist down on the...
My boy, this is a joyous occasion. You are now Count. You have risen to authority.
What is this hole in your floor?
That's where they came from.
The worms. Did you put the hole in your floor?
No. But the worms did. And they are noble creatures.
Noble.
Worms.
Well, they'll triumph in the end, won't they? Won't they? And he just stares directly at you.
As a Kinku, I can vouch that they make a phenomenal breakfast. My good dear Zanti, will you affix your torch to the end of this rope and let's lower it down the hole?
Immortal pangs.
These worms will reduce the world to red powder and white bone and the blackness of the pit.
Saros will sob.
Only then will the incessant heartbeat stop. Ah! Are you going down there? I'd like to join you.
Lead the way.
But first,
Down there?
would you mind if we...
I trust.
Would you mind if we check something real quick?
Are you still invisible?
No, after I did that action right there.
You're right.
Doctor, do you have one of those, what is it, a stethoscope?
Certainly. I was going to recommend him as well. We should check his vitals.
Well, first, would you mind checking his heartbeat? I have a theory.
Sure. I love theories. No, Jim.
You want to
What
check
kind of
my
witchcraft device is that? Get the leeches.
This is called science.
You'll find the most immaculate heartbeat, and he just parts his shirt open for you and looks up at you.
Well, what's the theory? Perfect.
That heartbeat is the one that we are hearing in our own ears.
It is, in fact, not. In fact, you put in the stethoscope and you hear the dun 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 dun, and they don't seem to be related.
The remix.
Curious.
He has the heartbeat of a healthy young gentleman.
What about his blood pressure? That whole situation.
he's letting you do everything and just
When everything's
he
fine.
seems mostly healthy, a little bit high blood pressure.
Okay. I want to know more about the worms and things. I mean, so what is the period of time in which has he just been sitting in his room waiting while?
It seems to be. He's completely disheveled. He's in fine clothes, but you can see 2 or 3 days worth of stubble on his face. And I mean, again, he does, his heartbeat's fine, but he's clearly sick. In fact, once you take his temperature, you can see that he is burning up. I mean, 103 temperature, 104. Just very, very sick.
I'm gonna note that down.
So these worms showed up after you.
Yeah.
Your father.
Yes, they showed up in the middle of my ennobling. Fitting. The honored guests!
So you would have these worms devour everything.
No, I didn't ask for it. But they did, and they spared me, and I don't know why. But having seen them, maybe they are deserving top of the food chain.
Have you gone down that hole?
Down there. Not yet. It's just a cellar. The
cellar
wine cellar.
just has a hole in your bedroom floor.
I'm as perplexed as you are. I don't know where they came from.
Have you drank anything recently?
Of course. I've been drinking wine for days. And you look at this 3 empty wine bottles kind of rolling on the ground.
The hole in the bedroom floor, was it like man-made or does it look like
Looks burrowed.
burnt? Okay.
It's rough. You could easily climb it.
Okay.
You could easily climb down.
How far down does it?
It goes down into darkness, but I think you would toss the torch.
Well, I tied it to the rope and lower it down.
Yeah, you lit a torch and dropped it down. It goes down 20 feet, and because it's pretty narrow, you can't really get a lot of view down there, but you can see that there's like a cask of wine down there.
If that is where the worms are coming from and where the wine is coming from, the worms were likely in the wine.
Yeah, can I guess whisper to someone else since we're talking to him still? That
Sure.
I think.
Yeah, he's kind of letting you check him out. I mean, he's being overall
Yeah.
pretty amicable.
All right, guys.
Who's near him right now?
Yeah.
We were
Yeah.
inspecting
They're checking
his
him.
heartbeat.
Yeah.
I want to go down the hole.
He kind of leans into you as you check him, and he's like, "If I killed him, why does his heart not stop beating?" Peculiar, isn't it? Peculiar, I say.
Wait, this is your father's heartbeat?
Must be. Whose else is it? Old fool. Probably some magics.
Could be the Willow Man. Child's tales.
To murder people in cold blood, you've consigned yourself to be haunted by your father's heartbeat.
The ultimate betrayal. He's right.
Well, it had to be done. It was an act of goodness. That infernal eye, I tell you.
Ouch.
Sees through walls, sees into souls, always leering at me. Ugh. If you saw it, you'd understand. You would.
Was he a loving father? Kind to you?
No. He was vile. He was the worst.
And
Would
Billy.
others say as much or just you?
Everyone would. Everyone who knew him knew how terrible he was. Awful at parties, and that I did the world a favor, I did.
Can you tell us more about how you killed him?
That might remain my secret for now. Are we going into the hole?
I mean, he's gonna.
I'm going down the hole.
Into the hole.
I'll be like, hold on, words of truth. I'll be like, you can take it down first.
He's like,
I was like, and know this: if you try something funny when you're down there, I would cut your throat myself. I find you disgusting.
Let me go down first. He goes behind me, then you fall behind him. That way he's sandwiched.
he's like nodding amicably, like, no, I am a worm. No, not a worm in the sense of I am beneath you. Yes, I will adhere to the plan. Tell them I'll adhere to the plan.
He'll adhere to the plan.
Yes.
Let's
You'll
go.
adhere to the plan,
Let's go.
otherwise
Yes.
you die.
Let's go.
I'm what the people refer to as a chaotic neutral. He seems on the up and up. Down I go.
Okay. He follows you down, somewhat spryly. Like he's like, down the rope.
For some of
Worm-like fashion.
Yeah. Seems kind of into it.
Yeah, just a fever.
Yeah.
Do all of you climb down?
Yes.
No.
It's a large cellar. In fact, it seems almost like it's potentially under the entire rest of the manor. And there are casks upon casks of wine. You can imagine them in large rows. Not all that peculiar. You gather that, in fact, they may be a family business, and this may be a distribution center or something. You're not 100% sure, but at first you're a little bit like, dang, that's a lot of wine kept here. But you also know they love to entertain here. You all kind of reach the bottom, look up, you can see the hole, there's a rope that you all strung down, and there's kind of a 40, 50 foot kind of hall made out of these shelves of casks that looks like it opens to a T intersection. And he's just like, would you like to see where they came?
Lead the way. And I don't get too far ahead of us either.
He's like, just tell me where you'd like me to walk. Tell me how you'd like me to walk. Slowly, quickly, slowly. And he walks towards the edge, and he kind of looks and covers his mouth, and he's like, oh dear. Looks to the right at the T intersection, and you all see a grisly scene. You hear it first, squelching. You turn and look, and you see bodies sprawled everywhere. 2 large, red, writhing worms.
We are so close to
They look like fluke worms. They're maybe about that fat circumference, and they've got a huge circular mouth, and they're about maybe 12 feet long. And they are blood red, and they, as you look, you can see one is connected to a corpse, and it's sort of raised, it's in the corpse's belly, and the belly is sort of raised off the ground like a bridge, and you just hear
Leeching.
and it sort of lets go, and the corpse falls to the ground. As it does, you see these white tendrils pull out of the wound and recede into the mouth, and it kind of peers up at you and doesn't make a sound. And I need everybody to roll initiative, please.
I'm over here going crazy.
Okay, here we go. Anyone above a 20? Nope. Okay, hold on.
Why are they?
Okay, 19, 18.
18.
18 for Zanti. 17.
17.
17 for words.
Words?
16 words. 15. 14. 13. 13 for the good doctor.
The good,
Oh, thank you.
mediocre doctor.
Watch it.
Okay, 12. 11. 11 for Madeline. 10. 9. 8. 7. 6. Both of you are 6?
5.
You're 5? 6? Okay, got it. Is that everybody?
That's all.
Okay. With that, you all see this first worm sort of peek up at you, and sightless, eyeless, doesn't seem to have any discernible intake, any kind of sensory organs whatsoever, sort of clearly like starts swaying, adopting this kind of combat stance. The other one does similarly, kind of drops a corpse and slithers a little bit through some of the viscera and blood, and as it does so, the young man, the young Count Lebrim Moldavia, takes a step back and starts almost chanting a low, strange sound. It writhes. It writhes with mortal pangs. The mimes become its food. And you're like, yep, that's what I heard. and seraphs sob at vermin fangs, in human gore imbued. And I need everyone to make their madness checks, please. So for Morella, that will be wisdom. For Morella, Zanti, that is wisdom. For Madeline, it's constitution. Did you pass?
Yeah.
I hate you. Dr. Tar, you are now making a charisma check, please. Lygia, you are gone. You're insane. You don't have to make any check. And Words of Truth, charisma check.
19.
Okay. Who got under a 12? Beautiful. You hear it and you're almost entranced by like what he's saying. Okay. Let's see. Zanti, you begin to take to the fever, the echo fever. Feel beads of sweat, or you just feel like ill. Your stomach kind of cramps up. Dr. Tar, you also failed?
Yes.
For you, as he says that, and as these writhing worms are looking at you, you just hear dum 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 dum, just pounding. It's coming from the walls all around you. Please roll me a d10.
Yep. There you go. For sure.
I need a cool little key now.
Never read what it's a 5.
5?
They're 5.
Okay.
I rolled the percentile.
Great. You hear a new voice inside your head. It is a multi-octave voice telling you to do terrible things. Welcome to the insanity.
Now my first.
Find the blood, bathe in the blood. You just hear this voice and you're like, oh my god, what? And it's absolutely horrifying. Okay, with that, Zanti, it's your turn.
Okay. I will steel myself and try to push the vomit back in my mouth. And I'll close my eyes for a second. I ran last time. I will not run this time. I will run up and attack a worm.
All right, sweet. There are 2 worms. There's one that's closer, one that's a little further. You'll attack the closer.
Yep.
Yeah, that is definitely a hit, sir.
That is 12 damage.
Woo! As you rush up, lightning licking off your blade, it sort of like regards you for a second. You lunge out, stab into it, and when it does, its whole body tenses up, and it's like its tail kind of slimes forward. The weight gets put on your blade. You feel the tail try to wrap around your leg a little bit, and it makes absolutely no sound other than the sound of it writhing and the sort of wet, flapping, slapping sound on stones.
Man, that's gross.
Yeah, I know.
It's good, but gross.
Words, you were next, my dude.
Yeah, in the voice of my dude's voice, I'm going to be like, come and eat me, you stupid worms! And I'm running up and I'm rapiering that dummy through the neck. So that'll be a 17.
That is a hit for sure.
All right, and then for damage, this is going to be, that's pretty good, a 12.
Okay. Following up on his blade, your rapier almost pincushions it at a perpendicular angle, and it does the same thing. You feel the muscles tensing, trying to grab your rapier almost, and its tail is just sort of writhing, flapping around.
Are you describing the worm or the man who
Oh, you're stabbing the man.
Absolutely.
Ah, gotcha. Yes.
Puppet master.
Yes. In that case, yeah, you stab through him, and he's just why? And he grabs his wounds and kind of falls back against the wall.
Eat me.
And he's just holding it like, kind of looking at you. Okay. So that was not on the worm. My bad. That was on the boy. All right. Dr. Tar, it is your turn.
So I essentially lost my mind, and I went to go and bathe in the blood of the worm, and so I am going to just like go crazy and run at it with the rapier and just try to go to town on
Go for it.
All right. So, 17.
That is a definite hit.
Oh, thank you.
So go ahead and roll damage.
Does he
Sneak
get sneak
attack.
attack?
Yep, you do. You can sneak attack.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
So you add the d6 to whatever you're about to roll.
Yep.
Oh, perfect.
So
Okay.
D8 and D6.
There you go.
1.
There you go.
So 12. Right? Yep. It's a 4. Yes.
Yep. That is a hit for 12 damage. You see Dr. Tar come up beside you, take his rapier and stick it, and you're like, yeah, like you're feeling good. He pulls the rapier out, some blood sprays on him, and he closes his eyes and rubs it across his face.
Yes.
There's this finger smear of blood across his lips now. And you feel like you've sated the dark creature speaking to you. Really? And with that, it is the worm's turn. In fact, the worm, its body language to you almost seems like one of betrayal. Like it's like, what? Like it recoils away from you, like it wasn't expecting an attack from you. But instead, it lunges at you, Zonti. And what is your armor class, my dude?
15. That is a 15.
That is, in fact, a miss. It lunges at you, and as it does, like you sort of stick your arm up, just kind of fit like fist under what its chin would be, and kind of push it up. And as you do, you see these teeth fold out from flaps in its skin that look like they're trying to bite you. And you see these little white, like proboscis sticking out of these various holes around the opening of its mouth.
I'm going to, as I do it, attempting to ward off the beating in my head and find his courage for his former cowardice. Like, I'm Zonti de Carillo, last of the hunters.
Nice. Okay, and the other one comes slithering up. It doesn't quite get past you because it does not want to take an attack of opportunity. Also looks at Dr. Tar, like almost sees him and just moves right past him. We'll attack you again as well, since you're right up there in the front. As you were speaking this, you see it coming. You're actually able to take the pommel of your blade and push the other worm into the other one, knocking it off guard, and the two of them sort of writhe against each other. Wet sound of flesh slapping wet, slick with blood stone, and they both miss. Let's see. With that, we are up to you, Madeline.
Madeline would love to shoot a firebolt at the worm that...
The hurt worm?
Yeah, the hurt worm.
Cool. Hurt worm?
Hurt worm.
Did you take your hurt worm medicine?
That's not good. I'm going to try again, though.
Yeah, go ahead, try again. Ooh! In fact,
No heart.
you shoot the firebolt at it. They have to duck. You feel your hair, your beautiful auburn hair, singe a little bit as a bolt of flame passes past you. It strikes the brick wall, leaving a burn mark. And you see a brick that seems to get loosened up a little bit. Okay, Madeline, we are up to Lygia.
I am still going insane with these
You are
voices.
totally going insane.
The worms are showing favor.
They are,
They
yeah.
favor the doctor.
They do. You almost feel a strange kinship with them.
I am most intrigued by this. And so there's still one worm that's undamaged.
There is
correct?
one worm undamaged. That is right.
Okay. I don't know that I want to hurt the worms.
Ride him to freedom.
I love it. Deep.
I don't know that I want to help them, but I don't want to hurt them. Yeah.
Works for me. You just kind of wait. You can take a dodge action. If anyone attacks you, they'll have disadvantage. As you can sort of sit there, like, just watching in your madness.
I will. If it begins to get heavy, I might jump on a worm.
Beautiful.
But now I'm just gonna.
All right. I love it. I love it. Morella.
Is there a worm near me?
There's not right now because Zonti kind of ran forward, and then Zonti and the doctor kind of ran forward. So you're about 20 feet back.
And then, are they within 5 feet of other worms?
Yes. Yeah, both worms attacked Zonti.
Wait, so they're both alive? Both of the worms are...
Yeah, none of them
You
have
can
died.
sneak attack.
Okay, so I'm going to try and sneak attack.
Yeah, you would totally get sneak attack, yes.
And I'm going to use my ghost eye
Sweet.
to attack one.
All right, you see Morella come running up beside you, and she's wielding the pendulum that she took from the clock.
21.
That is a definite hit.
And so, you said 1d6 plus 1 plus my dex?
Yep.
So it's
So 1d6 plus 4.
Okay, and then another 1d6 for my sneak attack.
Yes, correct. Yep.
So 8, 9, 10, 11.
Ooh.
And
Okay, he's still standing, but it's clearly like blood is pouring out of these wounds for it. It's like looking like it's writhing very limply. That's my worm impression.
I am pretty perceptive, and
You wanna play
I
wormies?
also saw the doctor take some blood and rub it on his face, and how
You
it
did
went
see
a little
that.
past him. So I'm going to
Oh, I love it.
smear some on my face as well.
Okay, you know what? I think smearing some of that worm's blood on your face. Can you make me a wisdom saving throw?
I think that Madeline's just in the back, like,
What are you doing?
13.
You're like, I don't know. Ugh, like it
That's not the
stinks.
blood you bathe in.
It smells fetid. It's just like, ugh, what is it? It smells rotten. It smells rotten milk. Okay, with that, we're back to the top of the turn, and the poor, wounded, bleeding out young count kind of slumps to the floor in front of you, Words, and he whimpers out, "Through a circle that ever returneth in to the self-same spot, and much of madness, and more of sin, and horror the soul of the plot." And he kind of looks up at you pleading, and he's like, "Don't. Please don't." And I need everybody to make the next save on their madness check. Morella, you're rolling wisdom. Madeline, you're rolling constitution. Dr. Tar and Lygia, you guys do not need to roll because you're already insane. Zanti, you're rolling charisma.
Oh my gosh, 2?
Okay.
Oh no!
And words of
Oh,
truth.
did you roll a 20 as well?
Charisma, you passed.
No, I don't roll.
What'd you
I
get?
critted.
You critted. Wonderful. Okay. And Morella, how about you? Okay. None of you fail, but you can still just hear this dum 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 dum. Except for Madeline, of course. You're like, what is going on here? Why are y'all?
I only seen person.
Okay. And with that, we are back to the top of the round. Zanti, 2 of these worms are looking at you. One of them is just barely moving at this
I will
point.
attack the one that is barely moving. That is a 19.
That is a total hit, my dude.
And as I'm swinging in, I'm now louder. I am Sante de Carillo, last of the Order of Hunters. That's 11 more damage.
Okay, that is enough. As you're kind of still holding it almost by the chin, like you're just holding on to it, the other one's nipping at you. You take your rapier and just drive it into its throat. Like just
I'd
kind
like
of.
to try to increase the electrical energy.
Yes.
Through it.
Just, you kind of see these arcs of lightning coming out of its mouth, and you pull it out, and this smoking worm just falls to the ground. Anything else you'd like to do, my dude?
I will just change my posture to the next one.
Love it. Words, you were up next, my man.
I look at this dying young man beneath me and I go, "Poetry, eh? If you got beef, then bring the ruckus. Words of truth ain't nothing to cluck with." And then I finish him off. Hey, that's a good one. 24 to hit.
That is a total hit, and as he looks up at you pleading, you take your rapier and just stick it right through his throat. He kind of grasps it and slumps down dead.
He's probably our only hope for just finding anything out.
I'm sure there's a cleric that knows how to speak with the dead. We'll bring his skull back.
The worms
Dr.
will
Tar,
help us.
it is your turn, Dr. Tar.
Well, just to clarify, did we notice that after Marilla put blood on her that they avoided her?
It's a little chaotic going on. If you would like to roll a perception check, but they seem to be pretty engaged with Zanti, so
Okay.
you don't really see yet whether it's made a move.
Because I kind of want to, in my frantic whatever,
Yeah.
just start putting blood on everybody, because I think that's the solution.
I think you can do that, especially since there's a dead one lying there.
Yeah.
And Zanti's right next to you.
Yeah, so I'll just,
Zanti, you see, like, as you're taking up you feel a hand, you're like, what? And you look, and he's just like looking at you, and he's smudged blood on your chin. And I mean, it's just, like, it smells just foul. It smells like rotten soup, like rotten clam chowder. And you're just like, ugh. And he's looking at you like with a look in his face.
Like,
I got you.
like a kid?
Yeah, like, I got you.
Now you're clean.
Okay. So you do that, Dr. Tar. And with that, it is the worm's turn. In fact, you put that on, and you know, Zanti turns back just as the worm leaps at Zanti again. That is a hit, my main
I
man.
like that we have to now hold our...
I know, this is weird. Yeah, I know. Just
Good form.
You take 5 points of damage, Zanti, and you are restrained. You all see this thing leap at Zanti. He sticks his arm up, but it's strong, and it just pushes the arm back against him, and it kind of turns down, and you see it attached to him. And Zanti, the first feeling you feel are these teeth grinding through your armor. Then they puncture your skin. But the real pain comes as you feel something digging through the top layer of your dermis and like spreading out. And you just get like, ah, ah, and it's attached to you. You try to push it off. Ah, ah, ah. Yes.
So the blood doesn't work.
The blood did not seem to work.
So sorry.
Per usual, should I track that?
Yeah, go ahead and track worms. No, you're good. With that, Madeline, it is your turn.
Okay, then. This is a shite show.
A little bit.
There's worm blood and people are bathing in it, and I think that's what they're supposed to do.
Much of madness and more of sin.
I go by evidence, science.
I'm gonna shoot a firebolt at the one that is trying to eat.
Okay, you can do so.
Nothing.
Let me just wipe my brow. I do declare it's mighty close out here today.
It's like
That's
chow.
a 16.
That is a hit.
Yay! And then a firebolt's a 10, right?
Firebolt is D10.
D10. 2.
Big 2.
Big
Ooh,
2.
your cantrips have been a little off point tonight, I know.
All my rolls are terrible, except for
you're never going to give in to the madness. Fantastic.
Not much.
Madeline is done. Lygia, it is you, and you're just kind of standing there. You've seen one worm get skewered and lightninged. The other one is fighting desperately. You do almost feel a little bit sorry for it, but you're able to kind of make your own decision. You're able to cut through.
Well, I grieved when the one worm was killed. I felt an inexplicable sense of sadness that I could not control, that
Right.
I had no sense of.
The kinship with it.
But then seeing the other one attack someone I knew that I had come here with, I am disturbed. I was happy to see Madeline attack. I was considering trying to grapple with it myself, but I'm also being told in here to leave it be.
The
That
end
in
is
the
here.
end,
The end is
we're all
here, and the
doomed.
worms are
We're all
winning.
doomed. In that case, I'm disengaging.
I love it. I love it. You back up and kind of push yourself into a wall, watching, hearing words entering your head. Dr. Tar, you're hearing these same, almost of chorus, just pouring out of your
Am I
lips.
being told to bathe in blood?
No, you aren't. He has a different madness. Your madness is a little different. Morella. Thank God. Can I bother you for one of these boys?
Is there
Where is the cool light? Sorry, go ahead.
is there still the one that is like
Yep, and it is still wrapped around him. It took one hit from a firebolt, but that's about it. Otherwise, it's pretty good.
Yes.
I am going to attack it with Ghost Eye.
All right.
8 plus 6.
Do you want to re-roll it?
Three plus 6.
14 was a hit. Sorry.
You went.
Hey, that's what we got him. Yeah, you see it like wrapping around Zanti, and you're still mostly have your faculties, and you kind of grab onto it as it's kind of writhing around, and you take Ghost Eye, and it's kind of a very natural weapon to attack with. You just kind of, thank you, man, appreciate it. You kind of slash upwards, and you feel it. It's so sharp. It's like a scalpel. Like you almost feel no resistance. You're like, damn, did I miss? And then you just see the wound open up and blood come pouring out. Go ahead and roll damage.
Wait, I thought it.
You did hit. 14.
He was just being.
I was being a jerk. You
Hit on both.
I totally didn't even pick up on that.
Yeah,
at
go
all.
ahead and roll damage.
My brain doesn't math. I was like,
2d6 plus 4.
I can't even think right now.
Sexes.
Yeah, I'm like, what's a 6? Oh my god. I've
Pretty warm out
I've
here.
never played this game before, but
I
quite
do
good.
like dungeons and I do like dragons.
If it's anything like poker, I might be able to get the hang of it.
Would you like?
Alright, so that's a big old 3 plus 4.
Okay, so big 7. All right. And with that, we are to the top of the round. There is one remaining worm. And now it is both Lygia and Dr. Tar. Words come to them, and they almost can't seem to help themselves. And they both simultaneously spew. While the angels all pallid and wan, uprising, unveiling, affirm. The play is the tragedy man, and its hero, the conqueror worm. And you both say that, and as you do, you feel filled with hope. You feel inspired that the world will finally come to the end that it deserves. And with that, we are up to you, Zanti. You are restrained as this creature is just, and you're holding on like,
I can attack at disadvantage.
You can attack at disadvantage.
I will attempt to do so.
Do it, my dude.
Where's my sword in relation to where I am? Am I?
I think you tried to block with your left hand, so you've got it here.
Okay, got it. I'm gonna spin on it.
Yep, spin it up.
An 18 then, is the lowest. Barely able to breathe now. Left of water around us. It's 14 damage, my dude.
14 damage. Yes, that is a solid hit. In fact, as it is latched onto you, you can feel these things pushing. You just take your blade and just kind of wait till you find a spot and push with all of your strength, and you just to the hilt pokes out the other side, and you just kind of hold it there as lightning is racking its body. Lightning kind of licks up you a little bit, and you just kind of screaming. And with that, we're over to you, Words of Truth.
We got one worm remaining, 2 worm worshippers. I'm gonna mosey on over to the lightning wriggly worm. And I'm going to stick my rapier in its face.
Do it, my dude.
I got a 16 to hit.
That is a hit.
I do 9 points of piercing damage.
All right. Yeah, I mean, as he's holding it and it's attached to him, you come over, kind of do the same, stick it a couple of times with your rapier. It is still up, but you can see and you can almost feel its grip loosening. In fact, you're able to kind of push it free in one spot, and you can see this white, almost like a tendon that seems to be inside your skin. You see it, feel it kind of recede into its mouth. With that, Dr. Tar, it is your turn, sir. Though those words were coming to you, you still have your faculties, you're just insane. You can still control the character, but the character is insane.
Well,
I love that it's the Poe employees too.
Yeah, y'all went crazy.
Yep. It's hard because I feel like I still feel like there was something weird about the strange. Was that like kinship feeling from the worm, or like disgust that I had bathed in its?
I don't think you yet feel disgust. It felt like you were like, "Yep, I was supposed to do that." But that being said, you can cut through the crazy to get that this thing is probably worth attacking.
If you want a copy of your book back, you kill this worm now.
Great point.
Dangle the carrot. Dangle the carrot. That's what I always say.
Then in that case, how close is the worm?
It's right next to you, basically. Yeah.
So I'll go ahead and try. I'm gonna try something exciting. I'm gonna try to use. I'm gonna pull out my dagger again because it's kind of fun, and see if I can pierce it in its face hole.
Go for it. Yeah, right in the face hole. Roll.
16.
That is a definite hit, sir. You can roll a D4 and a D6.
Perfect. Right, yes, here we go. So, 4, 7.
It's +3 still.
Oh, still +3. Okay. So 7, yeah.
7 damage. All right. You guys are now, it's just a pincushion. You come up, you hold the dagger overhanded and just kind of start digging into it. Blood is spraying up on you. The worm is continuing to writhe and continuing to attack Zanti, but you can start to see the life just fading from it. In fact, it is the worm's turn right now. Sean, you take 8 points of damage. You all see Zanti just He's screaming, and you see the worm almost starts pulsing, like it's sucking or slurping out his insides, like a big, grotesque flesh straw.
I have 1 hit point. I'm trying to keep consciousness.
Yeah. In fact, you drop to one knee as it is sucking your will to live. With that, Madeline, it is you.
I will try again to hit it with a firebolt. 14.
That is a hit.
Yep. 8.
All right, Zanti, your vision is turning red. The last thing you see is a flash of flame hit this thing. You see it kind of singe and melt, and you feel it go limp, still attached to you. You feel others come and grab it, and they pull it out of you, and as they do, they're pulling these tendrils that had started spiraling out into your body. They just pull those out, like, they kind of stretchy and pull out.
I'm still gonna be,
And they pull it and throw the worm to its side. And you all have defeated the Conqueror Worms. And as you do so, the heartbeats start to subside a little bit. They don't quite go away, but you who are crazy sort of have a moment of lucidity of like, oh my God, what have I done? Like you feel like, what has happened to me? Everyone else, the heartbeat is still there, but it does start to fade just a little bit. And as a reminder, there are numerous bodies laid out before you. There is a hole in the wall where a firebolt struck a brick, and the brick seemed to fall inside. What would you all like to do?
In the hole.
kick the bricks.
Alright,
I'm going to drink this
Can I
health
just
potion.
peer into the hole? Not. Because what if there's something in there I don't want to
Yeah, you peer in and it is pitch black. You can see it's a brick, like, in the wall right about eye level that has fallen inside.
Allow
And-
me to assist, and I'll hold Ghost Eye forward. Isn't it like cast?
It's more that if you're holding it,
Oh.
you get the ability to see.
Well, maybe
the
I
dark.
don't know that he can't. Is this aiding you at all? Because I can see quite clearly
No.
inside. Oh well,
Does nothing for you.
I apologize. My senses apologize.
But Morella, you could have.
Well, you can have a look.
I'm not going to take a peek in that first.
I'm removing all the bricks. I'm just like Christmas Day. Just
It's not too hard either. In fact, as you look, it looks like it's been recently mortared. You break the wall down, and inside you find the former Count Moldavia with a dagger in his back, a bottle of wine, and a burned-out torch at his side. Clearly dead, one eye open, a glass eye. Looks pretty good. I mean, it looks like it's well made at least. Certainly doesn't seem to have any magical qualities to it, but you're just kind of staring through as you tear these bricks down.
I'm gonna do a flick of a copper coin at him to see if he animates.
He does not seem to animate.
I apologize for my disrespect to the dead. It's
In fact,
just
he looks a lot more dead than the others. He was clearly not killed by the worms.
any sign of Eleanor?
really was the deadest dad in
Yes.
the dungeon.
As you search through these bodies, you clearly find poor, sweet Eleanor. She is dead with multiple wounds. You can see her spider brooch upon her beautiful blue shining dress. And you have found the poor woman.
We're gonna run over to her. My friend, my dearest friend. As I'm making a spectacle, I'm going to.
Please do not. We have all eyes on you.
I am.
Go ahead and roll sleight of hand. You're good at this.
Which one's my good one?
I'm going to be leaning up against the brick wall.
Oh yeah, you've gotten rough.
14.
What's everyone's passive perception? It's going to be under your skills.
Mine is 14.
I'm 13.
Nice.
10,
6.
13, but I
Damn,
don't.
you got a 14 as a fighter?
You
Dang.
better believe it. I dump all my stats into that stuff. Kinku.
All right. Well, you do see her removing the brooch. You don't necessarily see her pocketing it, but she removes the brooch and inspects it.
She will not be pawed at. We have questioned your reputation once before. Now we have evidence against you. You put that back.
This was my dearest friend.
Yeah, that's her brooch.
So we
Do you
should
want
be-
to bring this body full of worms back, or do you want to bring the belongings back to the husband?
Do you want to stand trial?
Do you want to bring the belongings back to the husband, or do you want to bring a body full of worms back? Who knows what could be inside that body?
I think he'd take our word for it. But I'm willing to give her the benefit of the doubt. And I'm sorry I question your honor.
All of us can watch that you return the spider brooch.
I do have a really good persuasion.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, I'll just hold on to this for now. We'll see what happens. And in the meantime, you pocketed at least one of her rings during the conversation. No. You all continue inspecting just a little bit. You do see a collapsed tunnel where the worms seem to have entered the cellar from deep below. It's, you can kind of tell it's here, it's collapsed, but you can just tell that it goes deep wherever it goes.
Are there any of the, brick and mortar supplies?
Yeah, you find them handy. You find just like a pile of bricks. And clearly what you were looking at, that you tore the wall down, was an extra alcove that was down here that then got bricked up to hide the body.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So I was gonna use some of the leftover brick and mortar stuff to patch up the hole.
Ah, gotcha. And if you all assist her, then it is quick work.
Trades.
It is quick work.
I don't know how to brick and mortar, but there's 6 of us.
Normal now.
One of us can figure it out.
That would be one part. I also say we burn down the entire mansion on top of this hole.
I was likewise going to propose that if the worms might have been killed, but in the end, they will still win. And we know that the bodies in the ballroom, something is in them. I agree. I think we must retrieve Ginny,
Yes.
save the horses that are still alive, and destroy the property.
Did you want to keep Eleanor's corpse since you were so hard pressed on it, or is it all right if I remove the rest of her personal items and effects to return to her husband?
Now, I recommend Madeline do it.
I don't want to touch her.
Well, the
All right.
doctor's accustomed to dealing with
A quick question.
Morella's job is her. She's gonna take it.
One sec.
Wait, the SWAT team's coming. Finale. Y'all handle the worms!
Oh, they're gone.
At her talking about the bodies upstairs, I'm going to ask the doctor, Vic, can I borrow that thing to listen to heartbeats?
Stethoscope. Yes.
Yes. I'm going to put it on and start moving it around my torso.
Oh.
You find nothing. But you listen, you hear nothing.
Oh, I'm mimicking the sound of wriggling worms.
All right, so to advance forward, guys, as we're nearing the end of the night, you all step outside, you grab Ginny, you watch with a little bit of awe as you... Yes.
How is Jenny's fever?
It seems to be slightly better.
Okay.
And we had no hope of finding her mother.
Her mother was among the dead, you would surmise. You certainly found no one alive, but you did find other servants.
Has the heartbeat sound?
It is subsided. It's not quite gone yet, but it is now faint, but it does feel like it's receding. You all stand there tossing torches in the high, dark windows. You watch as Moldavia Manor burns to the ground, and as it does, the sun rises in the east, bringing a warm light. And you ride back on the horses. You free the other horses. They're uncontrollable. You couldn't possibly recover them and take them home, but you cut them free. It seems the most humane thing to do. You ride back. You make your way back to the Baron Rennet. He is absolutely devastated to find that his sweet Eleanor has succumbed. You all are sitting in his parlor, telling him of the news. You don't give him a full inventory of things. You give up the spider brooch because you know that everyone would notice, and some of the other things, but plenty of the things find a new owner. And as you all are sitting there, finding a new home for poor Ginny.
I want to make a recommendation.
Good.
I don't think Zante needs to be the last of his line anymore. I think you should adopt Ginny, and I will pay for you to train her to be a blood hunter.
That's pretty tight.
That is wonderful.
I will finance it.
The Baron finds it amenable.
That is a tough life. I would gladly take your Jenny if you want, although, Baron, you have lost a daughter and a wife. Perhaps both of you can grow out of this tragedy.
He thinks about it for a second, and his face is dark, and he says, I think I am beyond child rearing. The girl's going to want revenge. She's going to grow up with hate in her heart. You can help her channel it.
I should take you on your offer, words of truth. Continue.
And as you all are preparing to leave the manor, the heartbeat's now gone from your ears, the madness behind you, nothing but a strange fever dream. The Baron walks you into his grand foyer, thanks you all one more time, hands you the money you're owed. And as you're walking out, he puts a hand on Zanti's shoulder and says, "You know, it's funny. It's almost like I can hear her heart beating." And with that, we are done for the night. Thank you all for joining us. I hope you guys had a good time with the adventure.
No, I loved it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're very welcome. Thank you. Thank you all for joining. This was a whole lot of fun. New D&D players, you guys did great. Did you have a good time?
Yeah.
Yes.
I appreciate everyone's patience as we were like,
You were fun.
add this to that.
The mechanics are the less important part. You guys were a lot of fun. Hope you guys had a good time. We'll
I
definitely
like
play
that it
together
worked
again.
out that you two went insane.
Yeah.
Knowing the most literature to quote.
Yeah,
Right, yep.
Those are horrible.
I love early on when you were quoting, I was like, yep, that's coming. And then I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
I thought y'all worked that out together.
Nope.
No.
It's just that it's my favorite.
Lagia wrote that poem.
Hey.
That's right. It's in Ligeia. Yeah, you're right.
It is her own work.
Yes. So Kelsey, I told Kelsey that's like my favorite Poe poem, and she took and made this incredible adventure. It's so
Yeah,
good.
that was awesome.
That was a lot of fun, wasn't it?
That was fun.
All right. Well, any closing thoughts, guys? I know, I guess for our point, we'll mention that we regularly stream Sundays and Tuesdays. You can find us right here. We'll be back tomorrow. We're running a very high-level adventure. Our characters are level 16. Some of them, some are 13, but rising. And we're going to wrap up Princess of the Apocalypse ahead of the Waterdeep Dragon Heist. We're looking forward to that with all new characters. And yeah, everything else. Andrew, all the giveaways away? Awesome. Anyone?
Congrats to our winners.
Yes.
Yeah, congrats.
That's right. Yeah! First transport is away.
Don't forget to, if you enjoyed this and want to talk to us about what happened tonight, if you're a first-time watcher or you've been watching us and aren't in it already, join our Discord.
Yes.
Where we talk about stuff and
all day.
Just talk
Every
about
day.
stuff.
Just that.
Yeah.
All kinds of
All day.
stuff.
There's fitness stuff. There's whatever you guys are doing down at that channel that I don't go and stuff.
Right?
Not like
the role-playing channel. Yeah, the
Yeah.
text-based role.
Yeah, don't really think about that.
Anyway, be sure to join our Discord if you're interested in what you saw here tonight. It's free to get in. Like you just.
It's a lot of fun. A lot of good people there. So, once again, thank you all for letting us do this. This was so much fun.
Absolutely.
This was weeks and weeks of planning and work. So thank you, Andrew. He did all of our technical stuff. He does all the music.
I think
He was
we should
back
get
here
Andrew
driving.
on camera
Yeah, come on,
now.
Andrew, come.
Oh,
Come here.
yeah.
Come here. Look at Coach's beautiful shirt. I don't know if that's visible in the camera.
True.
Coach is running around like a dice board. Like a tennis
You guys are so tall. How did you guys get so tall? Thank you guys. You guys are such a big help. All right, everybody. Let's take this love. Let's go raid somebody. Andrew, you see anyone else streaming? Okay, I got you. Andrew doesn't know how to raid, but I got it. We're gonna go launch a
Hey,
raid.
while we're doing that, thanks to our sponsors again, Devin Root, Tabletop Loot, Libris Arcana, and Kurt Pilgrim.
Pilgrim.
The Great
Grey Pilgrim, not
Yeah.
Kurt Pilgrim. Kurt is the Grey Pilgrim.
That's the grave.
I loved it, y'all.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
This was so much fun.
Thank you,
I cannot
Grant.
wait.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you for coming, Grant.
Yeah, if you want to find me online at Wise Papa Grant on Twitter, and I'm on all the shows. I'm sponsored by Monty Cook Games. I have 2 books coming out this year that I'm writing for 2C Gaming, and on Monday I'm running a game for the players from Rivals of Waterdeep, which is a WotC partnered stream, and also Theogony of Kairos, another WotC partnered stream. So I'm running for their players.
Awesome. All right, Andrew, we're going to kick off the raid. It gives us about 20 seconds. So in closing, once again, thank you everyone who tuned in. We really appreciated it. We definitely appreciated the bits. We definitely appreciated you helping us get the word out, retweeting, giving us that signal boost for this. We hope we can do more things like this in the future. We certainly hope you guys would have us back because this was an absolute blast. And we should definitely do this again.
And don't forget, it's on Twitter, at Poe Museum?
Yeah, it's at Poe Museum, and then
Yeah.
we also have a website, poemuseum.org.
Awesome.
So,
Come check it out. Come to Richmond. Let everybody know you heard about it through this, and you won't be disappointed. It was awesome.